It again. The legs of Norton wobble. Norton is hurt in his own corner. Cooney trying to measure him. Misses two uppercuts, but scores with combinations of left stance. Norton straight up. Norton is about to drop. Norton is on his knees and finally slumps in the corner. He is not going to get up from this. The fight is over in 54 seconds. And if there was ever any doubt as to the punching power of Gerry Cooney, Ray Leonard, I think that doubt was put to bed right here.
Right. Yo, what up, man? First, my boy Mad Mike. What's happening, bro? Never Goon is in the house. Hello, brother. God bless you. My boy Disco Dave, obsessed with the cardio power. Yeah, what are you happening? What are you happening? I decided to do a last minute. I haven't done any videos today. I've been real busy, man. Taking care of some business. You may or may not know that I've been ripped off from over £2 million in my life. I made homeless. Okay. Well, I found a lawyer. I found a lawyer to deal with some of these people. And they're going to get it, mate. And revenge is going to be the sweetest. I'm not into revenge. I think it's a dirty, dirty thing to do. But if you've stolen £2 million from me, well, what do you expect, man? You put me on the streets. Right, you're getting it, mate. You are getting it. There's 3 of you, and all of you are getting it, and real bad, real bad. Yeah, hello again, my boy Railway. Yeah, hi, brother. Great to see you. Owen Foster always here. There ain't no life without an Owen Foster. Ain't no life without an Owen Foster or a Maloney brother. A Maloney brother. Cooney, you watched that. Cooney's Care is one of boxing's most brutal knockouts. That and obviously Tommy Morrison, Ray Mercer. But you understand the Tommy Morrison one was deliberately stopped late by the ref because he wanted to see the so-called Great White Hope get beaten up badly. It was disgusting, the Morrison one. But it's really funny. The Cooney fight, it was stopped. You could say a bit late, but not badly late. You could have let Cooney have another couple more shots, and then Norton's head would have come off. And everyone thinks, oh, Norton's so nice. Yeah, whatever, man. He's the Mandigo at the time. He was definitely juicing. Before the 80s, you never got all these real, or 70s, actually. No, late 70s, early 80s. You never got all these super muscular guys. And even the black guys, right, who are known, allegedly they're really muscular and athletic and blah, 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 blah. Right, but you look at Sugar Ray Robinson. Look at the best black boxers prior to the 70s, the late 70s. Sugar Ray Robinson. Okay, what was his body like? Athletic, but normal. Jack Johnson, what was his body like? He was Secret Society by the way. What was his body like? Again, it looked normal. Joe Frazier, normal. Muhammad Ali, normal. And then all these really muscular bucks started to show up. So what do you know about that? That's when steroid abuse. They didn't even used to test for steroids. Yeah, they didn't even used to test. The first guy who popped for steroids was Franz Botha, who's fat and white. You know, before then they didn't even test. Yeah, they banned a couple of people for marijuana usage, but never popped steroids. They didn't even bother testing, man. You're not entertained. You will be entertained, brother. Keep the lives coming. Thank you, brother. I will do. Justin, gone live, gangs. Yeah, I had to do it because I've been taking care of business. I've been talking to my lawyers, and I'm going to launch, I don't know, what should we call it? It'll be revenge. There's going to be some revenge. I don't really like revenge. It's an ugly thing that, getting obsessed with, like, getting your own back. I don't believe that. But if someone had ripped off, a number of people have ripped off £2 million from you and made you homeless, and you had to give up your dog for someone to look after because you couldn't have them, what would you do? What would you do? Would you get revenge? Yeah, I'm a Christian. Everyone knows that. And I've given these people every chance to apologize and make up for it, and they haven't. Yeah. So I've done that. Yeah. And the problem is, if you carry on if you let people off the hook, then they will also hurt other people, right? And they will also steal from other people because they get away from it. Christianity does not Yeah, people always go, "Oh, turn the other cheek." I mean, they misquote that. Well, they don't misquote it; they take it out of context. That verse is about turn the other cheek if you live in a nice Christian society, and instead of having an argument and being unpleasant, just leave it. But that is in a Christian community. It is not for everyone. Right? The Amish have got it badly wrong, unfortunately, and that's why they're pussy holes. Right? So there's still room in Christianity for justice, and there will be justice. Who stole £2 million from you? Just no, man. This is between 5 and 10 years ago. I mean, there's a number of people. I've already talked about it, bro. Glad to see you live again. Thank you, brother. Bless you too. Yeah, the live starts now. As what's his face? David Greenblatt would say. Disco Dave. Time is patience. You'll get your day in the sun and secure the bag, and you can go around with a Corey power. And I will. And you know, people that have thought they got away with it are suddenly gonna realize, oh no, this is really serious. I'm gonna get up on my pillow. I forgot my pillow. Sorry, I forgot my pillow because I gotta keep. I gotta be comfortable, you know. I've got to be comfortable. You know, Gay J, right? You know, Gay J. Do you know what his favorite possession is? Gay J's favorite possession is? It's a donut-shaped pillow. You know why it's donut-shaped? So it's like people got really bad piles. They've got donut-shaped pillow because their batty hole hurts so much. His batty hole, Gay J, hurts so much because it's been smashed by Ben Heine and AKA Skins. Never good. Cooney vs. Norton was iconic. Oh, man. I mean, Norton was confused. He was, it was one of the funniest knockouts I've seen. He's like, idiot. I don't hate him. He had his time in the sun, but he's clearly juicing. Clearly juicing, as was Mike Weaver, as was all the other really muscular bucks that suddenly appeared. There's rumors about Marvin Hagler. I don't know about Marvin Hagler, but I've heard people who know boxing say he was one of the first juicers because they never got tested. They never got tested. So how could they fail a test if they never got tested? You understand me? Yeah. The live starts now. Big up Thomas the Tank Engine and Boxing Fan 3000. Big up everybody. I was in a fish and chip shop yesterday by the seafront, and this guy was so greedy he asked for more chips. I can't stand gluttons. And a large fish as well. He was so rude to the staff. I hate people who are rude to staff. I worked in the service industry, you know. And like Mr. Pink, I had a job that people did not deem tip-worthy, so I didn't get tipped. So I was busting my ass, and you get rude people to ruin your day, and you never even got no tips, man. Disco Dave, thank you. If you get ripped off, go after him 100%. Oh, believe me. The only reason I haven't is I gave him every chance to make it up when I was reasonable and nice. I had no money. But thanks. So all the money I've got from my funds, by the way, and remember, you can super chat. Yeah. You could buy me a coffee, or you could give me crypto on BTC and LTC. Much love to all the people that have given me cash money. That money has been saved in an account, and it's going to be used for lawyers' fees. Okay, and these people and these people are going to get crushed and horrified. They thought they got away with it. They're going to find out the hard way. If you've got evidence of them, then attempt to get on the case. Well, I do have so much evidence. One of them is wanted by HMRC. Yeah, he escaped the country. He owes over 400 grand to HMRC. Now, I've looked at the law, and if you owe that amount of money, you get an automatic 7-year sentence. One thing the Amish got right, I'm pretty sure 100% on jibber jabber. Yeah, oh, they're not wrong. They refuse to fight, so you could just roll them over. And Christianity ain't like that. Of course you can defend yourself in Christianity. Of course you can defend your children and your people. What, you're going to allow them to get killed and persecuted and abused and sexually attacked? No, that's not what Christianity says. What do you think the Crusaders were? Let me tell you this for nothing. Christianity teaches you to have morals and treat people rightly within a Christian community. And so if you have an issue, you don't seek revenge, you try and sit down and talk to them. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. So you can find out by reading the Bible. But it doesn't say, let everyone take advantage of you and steal £2 million from you. Ah, my boy Tony's here. Tony, oh God, ain't no live without no Tony Maloney party. Triple B unit. From the four corners around the world to the four corners of this live. Let's get this live started. What do you have? A live stream with Big John. Oh, he hasn't got enough balls to come on a live stream with me. Only a few people have the balls. And I've asked him, he'd blocked me, just for saying he's a glutton, which he obviously is. Well, I'm blocked for that. I'm blocked for the truth. And I said, I'm trying to help you, man. If people steal from you, slander you, or lie, always find a way to get. Thank you, Michael. It's great to see the Maloney brothers. They're not brothers, but they're both called Maloney. And my Irish fans, my Cockney Irish fans, I get the most love from them. I get the most reality from them. I love Irish people. All I get is love and good advice from my Irish fans. Okay? I told you. I had Joe Joyce. Big Joe Joyce. Yeah, bigging me up for a happy birthday. Great man. Great man. I pray for him because he's been a bit ill, so pray for him. Joe Joyce is a legend. Anyway, Owen Foster. Cooney did underachieve in his career 100%, and that's why I've said this. He was so talented. He was so vicious. His left hook, his violence, right? But he had many mental fragilities from past trauma that hindered his progress and confidence. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Owen. He was brutalized by his dad. He was a vulnerable, sweet guy who happened to be very good at boxing, but he got forced into it. He got bullied. He got mistreated. So, and it hurt his confidence. And he was also mismanaged. He was thrown in against Larry Holmes in the 80s when he'd only fought one round in like a year and a half. One round. And they threw him in against Larry Holmes because Dennis Rappaport and his other manager were so greedy they just wanted the money and cashed him in. Whereas he should have fought one of the other champions. I don't remember who they were, but Tony Tubbs, Weaver, Tate, someone like that. Guys that he would have knocked out. But instead they put him against the best, Larry Holmes. And obviously he got beat. But he put up a decent fight, but he got beat. That took his confidence away. When I was young, I was too young to know about the early Cooney. I only learned about Cooney when I was really young, when he fought Michael Spinks. I thought he beat Spinks. I thought he would catch him. He didn't. He cut Spinks. He was the only guy to cut Spinks. I mean, that's probably one of Michael Spinks' best wins. Yeah, he beat Larry Holmes, but it was close. But actually beating Cooney, a devastating puncher, and then Foreman. Foreman knocked him out with an absolutely incredible uppercut. He walked forward and goes, blap. He walked towards him and goes, blap. This is the second career of Foreman. So I can't diss him for that. That was a beautiful shot by Foreman. But even Gerry Cooney says, by that time, after the Larry Holmes fight, I didn't care anymore. I got on the yayo, I got on drank, I'm sure there are steroids in the 70s. You can see when they use PEDs. Yeah, 100%. I mean, even in athletics and things like that, where they did actually test, they were still doing a lot of PEDs. But in boxing, they didn't even test for PEDs until, I think, the early 90s, when Franz Botha failed a test, the first guy to fail a test. Before that, the only people, I'm trying to remember who they were, who failed tests were for marijuana. I think it was Greg Haugen. And maybe Hector Macho Camacho. Imagine, as if smoking greens is not a performance enhancing drug. It's a performance worsening drug, a PED. WD, a performance worsening drugs. Cooney gave one of boxing's most brutal knockouts over Norton. Yeah. Then was on behalf of one of boxing's biggest knockouts was Foreman. Yeah, Foreman. Foreman did great. He walked forward and goes, like I said just now, he walked forward, he goes, blap, and puts him over. So, well, you know, Foreman, I'm a big fan of George Foreman, the old George Foreman, and the second career George Foreman. And R.I.P. George, you know. He was a Christian. He literally came back to make money to support his church because he didn't have enough money. That's all. He served the Lord. And then obviously he had his, what's it called? His grills. And it's not just grills, there's a bunch of other stuff that made him hundreds of millions. It's a well-known story. That's where he got most of his money from. Yeah. But Foreman came back literally to serve God and make money. Unfortunately, this, and even Mark Butcher in Boxing News talked about it. What he said to most overhyped boxer right now, it can be a list if you like. I have to look. I mean, overhyped, most of them are British fighters. Because, you know, obviously boxing is big in Britain. Boxing is probably bigger in Britain than it is any other country. Like in the US, it's quite big, but it's not massive. They've got NFL, NBA, even ice hockey, which they've tried, baseball, but they've tried to push baseball and ice hockey away. Why? Because it's not that diverse. It's not diverse enough, right? But who's the most overhyped? So I would say guys like Dalton Smith, you know. Dalton Smith really does not look world class to me, you know. American wise, Devin Gainey probably. He's a coward. He got his ass handed to him by Ryan Garcia, and Ryan was so base they eventually found him guilty of apparently doing PEDs. But everyone knows Ryan waxed Devin Gainey. Which is more brutal, Cooney over Norton or Foreman over Cooney? Oh, Cooney over Norton, definitely. Because Norton was gone and boom. And Gerry kept on throwing this massive left hook. He had one of the best left hooks ever. Probably better than Tommy the Duke Morrison. Foreman vs. Cooney was a great KO, but the most brutal knockouts in the history of boxing, or the most graphic ones, are Cooney, Norton, and Morrison getting KO'd by Ray Mercer. Johnny Conway, what's up, Chubby? I'm great, bro. I'm here for the funds, like usual. Even Jesus took his belt off every now and then. Yeah, he gave the wrong-uns a hiding, you know. He gave that's thanks, Mike. He gave them a hiding. The people that were disrespecting God's temple and selling and making money out of the whole thing, selling animals, you know, at an extortionate price for sacrifice. And Jesus said, firstly, God doesn't demand animal sacrifice. Secondly, you are bringing filth to my Father's house. You're making it about money. That's why they hated him, because he spoke the truth, Jesus. Oh, this is interesting. Randall. Moses Tam was giving the Muslimic talk on 5 Live, was he? Well, like I said, it's not that surprising. He's a Christian, but they're moving towards, when I say they, I mean the elitists are moving towards a one world government, one world financial system, one world religion. And it's predicted in the Bible 2,000 plus years ago. Okay? I haven't seen that. Where is it, bad boy? Is it IFL? Because I'll have a look. But, you know, they're using Moses as a new gay. In other words, to represent the clergy plan. He's perfect. He's a good athlete. He talks well. Yeah. Apparently he's 20, but to me he looks 35 plus. Yeah. So he's replacing Gay J because Gay J has come to the end. Who would you like to invite on your stream? Oh, great question. Big time boxers. Yeah. I'd love to have Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is another guy. Well, I think he was punished and probably got bought, but Mike Tyson doesn't mind speaking the truth. So yeah, like Mike Tyson, Tyson Fury, try to get some truth out of him. I don't know if I think he's been intimidated into not speaking it, but Tyson Fury and Mike Tyson. But yeah, give me some, put it in the comments. Who would you like Triple B most to interview on a live? Most of them are cowards, by the way. They won't do it. Porky refused it. What are you done, guys? Headshot being everyone. Yeah, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Bad boy Randall. We want Otto. Yeah, Otto. Oh, Otto would be awesome. Hey, Triple B, why are you so hateful? Why? I have never met you. I've never done anything to you. So why are you so hateful? Let's talk. Diversities are showing. I'm pretty sure because he's such a weak puncher and he's a coward. Even at my age, I'd probably knock out Otto. Is Putin, Johnny Conway, what's up, blood? Is Putin going to bake Trump in Alaska? Oh, you mean like baked Alaska? You know what baked Alaska is? It's a pudding. It's whack pudding. It's got meringue and cheap ice cream, vanilla ice cream. I think that's it. And that's the pudding. It's whack. But yeah, will Putin bake Trump? Putin's quite bright. I mean, they're both bought, right? So that's the reality. Trump's kind of quite sharp, but so is Putin. It'll be fake theater, so I don't really care. How much do you think Canelo and Crawford weighs on a win? How much do you think they weigh on fight night? Well, Crawford's put on a lot of weight. He looks super muscular. I'm sure he's on the PDs, but Canelo was obviously failed the test for, what was it? Clenbuterol, Mexican beef. What I think will weigh on fight night, I think Canelo will probably weigh, okay, what is he? Super middle, right? His fights are super middle. So he'll probably put on 20 pounds. So it'll be about 188, 190. Crawfish will probably be 175, something like that, because he's been working on putting on weight, man. Didn't Holmes stop Cooney late? Yeah, the 13th round. Cooney gave a half-decent fight, but he'd fought one round in, I think, 13 months. And they threw him in against one of the best heavyweights ever, who had a chip on his shoulder and definitely didn't want to get beaten by no white boy. So he dropped him in the 7th, I think, and then stopped him in the 13th. But Cooney, like I said, he had one round in 13 months. Bad boy boxing, I was meant to send something. I accidentally sent it without finishing it. I don't know what you're referring to, bro, but okay, at least you know. Do you think Hulk Hogan turned down the grill deal that Foreman took? Yeah, he did. Right. So Foreman and Hulk Hogan, RIP, both of them, unfortunately, they both died this year, unfortunately. I'm not a massive wrestling fan, but I understand how hard it is for pro wrestling. They wrestle. There's a good article actually in Boxing News. Oh, I haven't got it here, but I said in Boxing News, the last after I was about to they'll probably watch Chubby's show, and I was slagging it off for all being about women boxing and all that and blah blah and being whack and woke, and they the last issue, because Rob Tevitt's gone and it's been bought by someone else. I don't know who. I don't know what's going on, but the last issue was really good and worth buying. But yeah, Hulk Hogan and George Foreman had the same agent, and they offered 2 deals to the agent. They said, you got the grill, the fat reducing grill, and you've got like I think it was like a juicer, right? And apparently the agent couldn't get through to Hulk Hogan, so Foreman took the grill. It's the first guy who got in. And Foreman made a great decision because he made hundreds of millions out of that. Whereas Hogan didn't make much out of his juicer. Frontal Borto was decent B-level heavyweight in his prime, correct. Not elite, but fun. Beat Schultz in a close fight. Yeah, and they stripped him because he was on the PEDs. And you imagine thinking Axel Schultz was not on the PEDs. He was another muscular guy with a huge, he was from East Germany originally, by the way, who were well-known juicers, had a massive HGH brow, you know, when the brow, a bone growth on the brow. So but Schultz beat Foreman. So he ended up boxing Foreman for the title. And he clearly won it, Schultz, and they gave it to Foreman. Bolter did well against Tyson. Oh, he was totally outboxing Mike Tyson. I remember I was in a club, a special bar that was showing it. It was that big. Obviously, all the black guys were supporting Tyson. I've never seen a single black guy support a white fighter, whereas there's loads of white guys that support black fighters. I support black fighters. I like Nigel Benn, Prince Nazim, George Foreman. You know, well, I'm not white, I'm mixed, but you know, obviously most of my blood is white. 90% of my blood is white. Yeah, exactly, Owen. Blythe was also robbed of win against Briggs. Yeah, he was robbed. And also, he's an extremely tough guy. He did MMA, despite having no real background. He did K1, I think. And he knocked out, he beat on points Jerome Lebanier, who's one of the legends of K1. He beat him on points. So this guy, like, Franz Botha is very tough. He did three fighting sports: boxing, MMA, boxing, you know, where he won the IBF title, was stripped, MMA, and he beat some decent guys, and K1. Yeah, he was a very underrated guy. The thing is, he started as a cruiserweight. You know that. He started as a cruiserweight, but he moved up to heavyweight because that's where the money is. You know, especially back in the day. Do you remember that time when Canelo was going to move to cruiserweight? Oh, yeah, they said, oh, Canelo. Well, they even said Canelo beat Usyk at heavyweight. I mean, you remember that? And then Bivol absolutely spanked him. And so they stopped that. Fruit Knowles. What's up, Chubby and the fans? Let's hear from the fans. Ask Fury if you like why he likes Corey. Something. I'd love to. You know what? Or John Fury. John Fury, I would absolutely wax. He wouldn't got the balls to go on the channel. Yeah. I'm actually thinking of releasing a call-out video. I'm thinking of fighting again. That could be either unlicensed or it could be bare knuckle. And I would say to Big John Fury, I'll fight you. You know, he's too much of a coward to fight Mickey Theo, who's never had a fight, who's a bodybuilder. Yeah, he sparred a lot. Mickey Theo would have beaten him. I've seen John Fury on the pads, right? About 2 years ago, he was so bad. He looked like he'd never boxed. And he's a heavyweight, and he never stopped anyone. Not one person. He stopped Michael Murray because Michael Murray, who was winning, I think he had a shoulder injury and had to pull out. He's never stopped. How can you never stop anyone? I blasted a few people out in amateur boxing. At a way low weight. In amateur boxing at 3 2-minute rounds. And this idiot, as a pro, can't even stop anyone as a heavyweight. So what do you know about that, homeboy? Oh, you mean overrated? Tank and David. I don't mind Tank. You know why I don't mind Tank? He's an idiot. He's a fool. He's fruity. But at least he goes for the KO. You know? So I like watching him. I don't mind watching him. I don't like him, but I don't mind watching him. David. Who do you mean? What David? Maybe I missed something there. Liam. Has Otto ever messaged you? No, he's too much of a coward. He looks like he'd be one of those professional protester dudes. Yeah, with BLM. Wear the mask. Get the jibber jabber. Yeah, one of those professional professor dudes wearing a mask on the front line with a BLM shot. Apparently someone told me on my last live that he's been wearing a BLM mask. T-shirt. So he ain't got the balls. I asked Joey Gamache, his trainer, because he follows me on Insta, which is weird. He's obviously seen me rinse out Otto, because Otto blocked me. So, what a pussy he is. Typical Swede. Hey, I'll block you. Why do you hate me? We've never even met. I will never take my foot off Otto's neck for pushing poison onto children. Okay? Yeah, Joey Gamache, though, I told him, and I said, "Do you want to come on the channel, bro?" And he's like, he didn't say yes. He kind of made some excuses, but at least he answered. But now Otto's left Joey Gamache, right? And he's gone to Houston to be trained by Randy Shields. So maybe Joey is a bit bitter. So maybe he will come on the channel. He can rinse Otto and say how whack he is. Also, Otto, Gamache is well off, because he won something like $2 million, and they did pay him as well. Because when you win in court, it doesn't mean you're going to get paid. Because people like the Calzaghe won against what was before it was Queensberry. Fish Eyes had a different company. He changed company, so he just folded the company. So Calzaghe was owed 1.5 million by Fish Eyes' company, and he took him to court and won. But what happened? Fish Eyes folded the company and said it was broke, so he never got his money. But in the Gamache case, he actually got his money, because he was suing an organization that I think it was New York, the New York Boxing Commission. I think Canelo walks around 180, 185. Yeah, he'll definitely come in about that weight or higher. He'll definitely come in as a cruiserweight. But Crawford's put on a lot of muscle, so I think Crawford will come in at 175 plus. It's 168. They got one at 168. So I reckon Crawford will come in at 178. And what's his face? Canelo will put on like 20 pounds. He'll be at least 188. Get Clarence Shields on the left. Oh, she ain't got the guts, man. She couldn't even put up with a quick rinse. You know, I've done a video on it. Check out my videos on it. That's it. You know, she ain't got the balls to even have a conversation online. So you think she's going to come on the show? And all I'll do is wax her and rinse her. She's stupid. She's ugly. She is just deluded, an unpleasant creature. Hogan's missus, massively into Scientology, might be a bit soft. Yeah, when you don't make it to the top unless you give up something. Yeah. That's why they tried to cancel Tyson Fury, because he's too based. Bota had a pretty good chin. Yeah, very good, physically tough and big legs. Leaky defense. He got hit too clean by big punches. That's how Tyson got him. Yeah, he was totally outboxing Tyson. He was humiliating him, but then he got banged with a big right. But he walked onto big right. Blap. Also, Lennox Lewis destroyed him, but that's what I expected. Lennox was too big, too strong, and Lennox, you know, we all know is one of the top heavyweights ever. So, you know, there's no disgrace in that. But Bota went on to do, as I said, K1 and MMA, and had good results. In fact, I'm going to have a look. Like I said, he beat Jérôme, what's it called, Lebanet, a French guy who was a kickboxing legend. So he beat him on points. Lebanet also boxed as a pro, by the way, pro boxer. But yeah, if we look at Francois Bota, so in kickboxing, he had a bad record. So he lost more than he won. But you know, he lost to Cyril Abidi twice, Bojanski, all on points, by the way. But he stopped Jérôme Lebanet. And I was wrong. He stopped him in 3 rounds. He KO'd Peter Ertz in the first round, another kickboxing legend. Yeah. Who else? He lost to Ray Sefo, a great fighter. He fought pro as well, and he had a brother who fought pro. He lost to Gregory Tony, who also worked as a pro boxer. But so he lost more than he won in K1 in kickboxing, but he still beat Peter Ertz and Jérôme Lebanet and stopped them. Now that's not something to be laughed at, is it? Two of the most legendary kickboxing fighters. Luis Bota was impressive in hindsight. Yeah, he destroyed Bota. Knowing it was in 2 rounds. Usually Bota was stopped late. Klitschko stopped him 8 years later, making the Lewis win more impressive. Yeah, Bota. I always knew he was too small, and he was exactly. Styles make fights. Bota was exactly the right style for Lewis. He was short. He'd take too many shots. Lennox was so much bigger, taller, longer arms, and he was in his prime. And Bottas was past his prime. So it's no surprise to me. I didn't like that fight because I thought there's only one thing that's going to happen, and I was right. Shall we with John Free? Yeah, I might call him out. Shall I call him out? Can we know in the comment? I'll say, come and fight me, you bum. You reckon you can fight in bare knuckle, or you can fight pro boxing, or glove fighting? It can be unlicensed. It can be misfits. I will KO you in both. You're a bum. You claim you had 100 wins and 100 KOs in bare knuckle. Whereas there's only one bare knuckle fight that's registered, and that's when he pulled out a man's eye and tried to pull out his other eye. He is a complete bum. He's a coward. He's all right. Like, he'll front you up when he's with all his mates and his family and stuff, but he will not have the guts to go one-on-one. He couldn't even fight Mickey Theo, who's like a 60-year-old bodybuilder. Apparently, Bivol wants Opetaya fight. That's a super fight. To be fair, if he's going to move up for Opetaya, then that's a super fight. If Bivol can handle the weight, then that's a very dangerous fight for Jai. And everyone knows that Jai is one of my favorite boxers. I would lead towards Jai because I think Jai is bigger. But Bivol is hard to hit. Jai can punch. He's aggressive. He's violent. His footwork is exceptional. But Bivol's footwork is exceptional. Bivol also has power, but he never goes for the stoppage. That's why he's got a low stoppage ratio, because he doesn't jump on someone when he stops them. You remember who's Sonny Edwards' boyfriend? Lyndon Arthur, who's not world class. He went the distance with Bivol, right? And he, despite being dropped and almost KO'd in the 11th. Darren James, yeah, what up, Darren? Great to see you, man. Canavis Crawford might end up like Drago with Apollo. Oh, stop the fight! Stop the fight! Yeah, that would be funny, man. Why didn't Porky come on? Johnny asks. Well, as I said in my last live, I said there were 3 conditions to coming on. Number 1, as obviously I was joking a bit. I said you're not allowed to be on the brown. You have to be sober. Number 2, that's kind of joking, but it's also serious. If you got some guy that offers his nut lying in his bed, you can barely speak. It doesn't make great viewing. And also, I'll rinse him. But I don't mind Porky. I actually like Porky, so I'm not a hater of his. And then I said to him, it has to be on a live. You have to come on a live. No recording it earlier so you can edit it and make yourself look better. You do it on a live. And there was a third one that I can't remember because it was about 2-3 years ago. I had a third proviso. But yeah, basically he came on because he didn't come on because he couldn't handle coming on a live. I also believe when Morrison defeated Foreman and potential fight Bottas was brought up into question along with Lennox super fight, Morrison Bottas would have been a very intriguing matchup. I believe Morrison would have won that. Well, as long as he trained properly. And that's the problem with Morrison. He only trained properly for one fight, which was Foreman. He was up till 6 a.m. smashing pum pum and drinking after going to a heavy metal concert before he fought Michael Bent. And he hurt Bent, and he was like, yeah, I'm just going to clean him out in 1 round. And then he got caught, blap, blap, and got stopped. And it was a 3 knockdown rule because it was WBO. I don't agree with that. It's so stupid, a 3 knockdown rule. Let's see you get knocked down, and they're not big knockdowns when you get stopped. Iron Barkley, Nigel Benn. Obviously, I was a big Nigel Benn fan. I'm also a very big Iron Barkley fan. He got ripped off by all his friends. He's got no money now, even though he made millions. Why? Because he was so generous, and people took advantage of his generosity. But Iron Barkley got dropped 3 times by Ben in the first round and got stopped. I think they should have let it carry on. But those were the rules. Imagine having a rule like that. It's stupid. John Fury never stopped anyone as a pro, as I said, but claims to have knocked out 100 men in street fights. I can't stand the guy. No one can stand him. I think even his son, Tyson and Tommy, can't stand him. But, you've only got one dad and one mother, so you've got to account for that, and you don't want to mess up your family functionality, you know. So people give it a pass. Okay, I've been on for 40 minutes and there's no super shakes. I don't want to get my bag. Where's my begging bowl? All right, this is my begging bowl. Where does super shakes? Where does super shakes? And buy me a coffee and things. The reason I say that as well is also because you're funding my lawyer and because this is a community channel, right? We rely on the community because they shadow ban me so badly. And JTube will take away 90% of your ad revenue and 30% of your super checks. So John Few's Pathological Lie says 100 on the cobbles. One of the worst tunes I ever saw at heavyweight. There you go. I don't totally disrespect him. Anyone who steps through those ropes, I give some respect to. He beat, was it Biagio Chianesi? Or maybe it isn't, but he beat the Italian champion. That's his only claim to fame. He got ironed out by Akin one day by Steve, was it Steve G? Or Steve Garber? Ironed him out. Yes, Triple B. Moses did an interview on Stomping Ground. He's the most calm, self-assured 20-year-old. Also dropped one or two statements that make him seem wise for that. I have never in my life, in all my years, known anyone as physically big at 20 or as mentally mature at 20. You see, when he gets interviewed, he's so laid back, he's so relaxed, and he answers them really well. I don't believe for a minute he's 20. Moses 20 going on 50. Yeah, he's very serious. I quite like him. I quite like him because he, you know, he's openly Christian, and obviously, you know, he's a good fighter, but he's clearly an AGJ replacement for the clergy plan. Joey still brain damage from the Gatti knockout. Now that was boxing's most sickening knockout. Oh, Joey Gamache, he's Gatti, yeah, horrible. Right up, left and right. It was brutal. He got dropped, and then the ref reasonably let it carry on, and then he got absolutely starched, like. But he sued the New York Boxing Commission because I think it was the New York Boxing Commission. They allowed him to fight Gatti, even though he didn't really make the weight. He jumped on the weight. And they announced it. Oh, I think it was light welter, 140. He made, and then he ate loads of food and drinks straight away. And Gamache's team was like, no, he's not made the weight. He didn't make the weight. We didn't say make the weight. Let him get on the scales. They go, oh, he can't get on the scales now because he's eaten and he's been drinking fluid, right? So he sued them successfully. So well done to Joey. But yeah, it definitely hurt him. Agreed. Boxing classics. You're agreeing with Moses' age, yeah. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he's the oldest looking 20. I mean, it's impossible. The most mature, oldest looking 20-year-old I've ever known in my life. Just seen the GJE media video. Went undercover in one of them hotels. All men playing table tennis, all meals. It's mental. I know, but no, that's part of their plan. That's what. See, this is where it makes sense. If you realize that it's part of a plan, you realize why it's so unfair and why all these people who are foreign get let off prison sentences for raping, noncery, and yet you do a tweet and you're from Britain and you will get months, 30 months. How much weight do you think Dillian has lost? About a stone, I'd say. You know, about a stone. He looks in decent shape, which is great news because it means at least he's taking it seriously. And, you know, Michael Maloney says White will win. He's certainly got a chance. But if I had to bet my life, I'm betting on a Talma. But I still think he's got a chance. Not massive, but he's got age. Moses is in 20. Someone slipped up an interview. I watched it. Right. Oh, okay. They said, I've been with Moses since the beginning when he was 19. Well, I thought he was sparring the big boys at 14 or 15. So would that comment right? Yeah. And he's born in Slovakia. So when you come over to Britain, you know, when you get if you know anything about amateur boxing, if you box as an amateur, yeah, which I have, and Mr. Maloney have, and other of me fans have, you know how it works. They don't ask you for a birth certificate or passport or any ID, so you can lie about your age. And it happens all the time in pro boxing. That's why you get these guys like George Collins. You remember George Collins? right? He was from was it Yeovil or Great Yarmouth or somewhere? I don't know. Something starting with Y. And he was pushed as a massive talent. In his first senior fight, I think it was senior, Gary Stretch knocked him out in a round. Right? And that's when I first started getting into boxing, and there was only like whatever 4 or 5 channels, and he saw George Collins all the time, and he's a big prospect. And even at that age, when I had him box and didn't know nothing about boxing, I looked at him, I was like, why did he push him? He's just not that good. And he wasn't. He got starched by Kirkland Lang, got beaten up by Gary Jacobs. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense unless he's about 5 or 6 years, then they're saying he's definitely. If you look at him beating up teenagers in the juniors, it's embarrassing to see the difference. You see these skinny guys with a young-looking face that are getting beaten up by a Talma who looks 30. Should be deported. Where should I be deported to, Jared? So Moz like 30 or something. No, I think he's more like mid to late 20s. But yeah, I reckon at least 5 or 6 years older than they pretend he is. You remember, because he was in Slovakia. Then he came to the UK, claiming he was only that age. And like I said, if you know anything about amateur boxing, when you get carded, all they do is, it's ridiculous. All they do is they get you to read a sheet with like letters on it, you know, to make sure you can see okay. And that's it. And they test your blood pressure. My blood pressure was high. I remember the guy, when I got my card, the guy's like, your blood pressure's really high. I go, yeah, I've just had a Red Bull. And he was like, oh, okay. Actually, it was really high because I was dumped on antidepressants that push up your blood pressure. So, you know, you can lie as much as you want if you're a carded boxer. You know, they don't check. Gillian, I think you mean Dillian's eyes look sunken, like he's been on the weight loss meds. I haven't looked that much, but I've seen him on the bag, and he's definitely lost weight. He looks trim. It could be a good or a bad sign, weirdly, because obviously it could mean that he's lost too much weight, and therefore it will affect his ability to take a punch, right? On the other hand, it could mean, because he's quite heavy on his feet, isn't he, Dillian? But it could mean he has better movement, better speed. My boy Acoustics. By the way, like. Yeah, please like to protect the channel, and subscribe and donate. You can give super checks, or buy me a coffee or crypto donations. Thank you. But likes cost nothing. I mean, you know, if you can't afford it, then obviously I wouldn't want you to spend your money. I wouldn't want you to spend your money. It's out of gratitude. Yeah, but yes, but likes don't cost nothing. So yeah, thank you, Acoustics. I hope you enjoyed your new motor. Have you seen me the postings of Gay J out for dinner with some Love Island skit? They always post stuff like this, so the proof he's not a Batman. Yeah, like that rapping thing I did a video. It's so pathetic. And they used to pretend he went out with Cara Delevingne, who's this posh girl. She's a model. I think she's kind of cute. I think she's cute. Apparently she's a rug muncher anyway. And just because she was sitting in a fashion show next to Gay J, they said, oh, Gay J and Cara Delevingne are an item. It's pathetic. PR's pathetic. They're all lies. Like Muhammad Ali and his boxing medal. Oh, yeah. He threw it. He was so disgusted about the weightism in America. He threw it off a bridge in horror. No, he didn't. He even admitted it himself. Oh, it's up in my loft somewhere. I don't know where it is. Yep. Subscribe. And most importantly, donate and share. Yeah, put it on your Twitter or whatever. An underrated punch from Night's Heavy was Alex Stewart. He had 43 wins, 40 knockouts, busted forming up nuts. Actually, yeah, I think he probably should have got that decision. But he also got ironed out and around by, Mike Tyson. And he was a decent boxer, but most of his KOs were against... let me have a look. But most of his KOs were against lower level fighters without a chance. But he's from Jamaica, yeah. Although probably, you know, he fought out of the US. Oh, here you go, Alex Stewart, 43 wins, 40 KOs, 10 losses, 7 KOs. Who did he beat? So let's have a look. Who did he beat? You look at everyone that he beat. Nobody. All these bums like Lorenzo Kennedy, Eddie Richardson, David Jaco, Michael Johnson, all of whom got knocked out by Mike Tyson, by the way, quickly. Terry Armstrong. So he lost in 8 rounds to Holyfield. Well, it's no disgrace, especially because he's so juiced up. But Mike Tyson, he KO'd him in 1 round. Mora KO'd him in 4. Foreman lost a majority decision that I thought Stewart probably won. But, you know, apart from that, who has he actually beaten? No one. Not a single person. Even Jesse Ferguson, an old Jesse Ferguson, went in distance. Yeah. Craig Peterson, Australian guy, knocked him out in 8 rounds. Oleg Maskaev KO'd him in 7. Phil Jackson, who wasn't that great. I think even Bruno beat him, didn't he? Am I tripping? Beat him in 10 rounds. Lance Whitaker, the Mount Whitaker, KO'd him in 7. Jorge Luis Gonzalez, who at the time had been beaten, had a record of 27-5-0. I like Jorge Luis Gonzalez. He was one of the first Cuban fighters to turn pro. Unfortunately, he was a bit lazy and he got absolutely hammered by Riddick Big Daddy Bo. And this white guy, what was this white guy called? The white journeyman knocked him out, I think. Let's have a look. I'm thinking of Courage Shabalala. The South African Black Hope, got knocked out by some white guy who was a journeyman. But what's his face? Who are we talking about now? Jorge Luis Gonzalez. Like I said, he was unbeaten until Bo knocked him out in 6. Tim Weatherspoon, another one of my favourite fighters, knocked him out in 5. Ross Percy then knocked him out. So he lost 4 out of 3. Michael Grant, who's a bum, who Lewis ironed out, and Galotto almost ironed out, but swallowed it. Knocked him out in a round. Per Wolfgram, he got silver medal. He lost to Vladimir Klitschko. He won a majority decision. And Joe Messi, you remember Joe Messi? Joe Messi knocked him out in 4 rounds. Joe Messi never lost a fight. 36 wins, 29 KOs. But he had a brain injury after fighting. Was generally thought that after fighting Vasily Zhidov, who hit him on the back of the head and caused him brain injuries. But he still had like 7 or 8 fights after that, all of which he won, and then he retired. Thankfully, he retired. He was intelligent enough to realize, I'm not going to risk my health, and I will retire. But Joe Messi was a big prospect at the time. You know, baby Joe Messi from Buffalo, New York. I hope he's doing well. Yeah, call out Big John. Yeah, all right, I'll do it. I'll do an official call out video. You know, I won't get anything back because he's a coward. He's a pussy-hole. You know, he's a bum. He reckons he's had 100 fights, 100 KOs. I'll fight you bare knuckle, and I'll fight you with gloves. Either way, you're getting smashed. You're useless. You're a complete bum. Alex Stewart was actually born in London and passed in 2016. I knew he was born in London, even though he's originally from Jamaica, and he was based in the United States. I didn't realize he passed. God bless him. R.I.P. I'm really sorry to hear that. Do you know how did he pass away? Let me have a look. I had no idea, man. I remember I really liked him because, you know, at that time, you know, any heavyweight puncher you gotta like. So yeah, British-born American professional boxer. He represented Jamaica in the '84 Olympics. He won a bronze medal in the Pan American Games. So he's a bit of a Lennox Lewis, isn't he? He represented Jamaica, but he was born in Britain and he fought out of the United States. I had no idea he died. That's terrible, man. Yeah. He died of a blood clot on his lung. Oh, I'm sorry, man. That's very sad. I had no idea. I hate to hear that. These youngsters passing away. John Fury should take on Nordic. Well, Nordic would mess him up as well. Bivol vis Orpetaya. What a fight. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't need to repeat myself. Orpetaya is one of my favorite boxers. Most exciting. That is a super fight. And there's only 2 fights for Orpetaya below heavyweight. And that is Gilberto Ramirez Zorto, who's a coward and won't fight him, or Bivol, if Bivol moves up. Bivol isn't a coward. He's a great boxer. I think he will cause Opetaia problems. But I believe that Opetaia, through his strength, his youth, his violence, and his footwork, will start to land from the mid rounds. But that's an excellent fight. Bivol, how many rounds has he lost? Not a lot. Well, the Craig Richards apparently only lost him 115, 113. So that's quite close. But I think that was a bad piece of judging. Bro, Bivol should have stopped Arthur. Yeah, Lyndon Arthur. Oh, 100%. There's time that Bivol was seen as very boring until the Beterbiev fight. He lacks killer instinct. Well, I think, yeah, he does. Because when he hurts people, he just goes back to his boxing. Pop, 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 pop. He does not go for the stoppage. I agree with him. And he's not the most exciting fighter. I like him as a person. He's exceptionally skillful. Bivol X listed his injuries, his back injury, vertebrae, hands and fluid issues under his eyes. Evil woman. Yeah, she stitched him up. And she was laughing when Beterbiev allegedly beat him in the first fight. You know, and she's got kids with him. And yet she's humiliating the child's father. Yeah, she's a wrong one. Morrison had to be in a military facility to focus form. Degeneracy was Morrison's weakness. I heard he had some intense orgies. I mean, I'm sure he did. I don't know about the OGs, but he was a womanizer. Like Rogan said, the women were sitting there throwing their pum-pums out of slingshot. Morrison. The YB calls him the light-skinned prophet. Who's he called him? I don't listen to the YB. The YB copied my channel, the old channel, and then he asked for some help. He was given that help, and he said, "I'll give you a big up on the channel." He didn't do it. That's why I went for him. He's a scumbag. He can't fight. He's another pussyhole. What do you think of Callum Walsh of his Vargas fight? Is that happening? Which Vargas, bro? There's a lot of Vargases. These Mexican fighters only have about 5 different names. They keep going to put the pension age up to an age where we won't be able to use it. Yeah. They've talked about it for years. What is it now? 65? Well, they've been talking about moving it to 68 for a bit, but they'll move it to 70 because they want to squeeze us for as much money as they can get whilst not giving us our pensions. Michael Maloney, Ben Shalom are getting put on mainstream BBC. Not our player now. They looked after him. Well, he's got links, hasn't he? He's got links. I didn't know that. So maybe those fighters will stay with him now. You know, he hasn't got many fighters, but if they're going to get BBC time, it's good. Their paydays won't be as big as if they're fighting on Turkey at the beginning, but it will give them great, visibility and make a name out of them. Dillian said he was sick of using the Rikiat way of training. Using half camp to drop the weight instead of boxing. Yeah, Hatton was a good fighter, and he was at one point my favorite fighter. But it started to annoy me that you're getting fat and disgusting and out of shape, and you spend your entire camp just dropping weight. And he did it really well. He trained hard, but that affects your chin. Dropping weight really quickly affects your chin. There's a guy like Matthew Hatton, his brother, never did that, and he had a cast iron chin. Why does British Boxing Board control sanctioned fights in Saudi Arabia? Yeah, it's very odd, isn't it? I'm not sure, but usually the answer to any question is money. Why did the flag emoji come out? Did it? I didn't see that. What flag? Because they bought railway and he's in control. Was that right? All out of chaos, right? That is what people in charge are. They want to create chaos so that they can come in, save the day, and create order, and then control us more. Ah, my man's fruit nose. 199. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Yeah. Come on, guys. It's been an hour. Let's get some love. Illegal immigration is so they can bring in digital ID. Well, it's not the only reason. There's many reasons for digital ID. You know, they'll push it from many levels. You know, the thing is, it's like when someone's done you a misdemeanor, people ask, "Oh, why do they do it?" And it's usually a number of reasons, right? So that's one of the ways they'll bring digital ID, and they'll pretend it's good for us. That's what they always have to do. They'll pretend that it's good for us. Because the last time the government did something and it caused riots and it caused the populace to join together and fight the government was the poll tax riots. Why? Because there was no way to justify the poll tax riots, no way to justify it. Whereas they'll easily justify digital ID, right? Oh, it's for your own sake. So we can catch criminals and illegal immigrants. Thank you, brother. That's a great point. Tyson Stewart knockout may have been a possible fix. I haven't seen it. So Industry Hawks made a video about it. Who's Industry Hawks? He sounds interesting. Stewart hit hard despite his limitations. Yeah, but he wasn't that great. He only beat bums, really. And the botmen will be the ones knocking at your door to sit off for sure. And they'll be paid. With Weatherspoon narrowly outpointed Holmes, in my opinion. I really liked Tim Weatherspoon. I've met him as well, hung out with him. He was a friendly guy. He said something a bit creepy. I won't repeat it because I don't want to diss him, but he said something a bit creepy about how he beat Poland. But Tim Weatherspoon got ripped off badly. He made 90 grand out of the Bruno fight after expenses were deducted. And he was the champion, you know. And obviously this was back in, what, 1986 or something, or something like that. But he should have made a lot more than 90 grand. I mean, obviously, the money, you know, it's probably the equivalent of making 180 grand these days, but hang on, mate, you know, or maybe a bit more. But if you're defending the world heavyweight champion against a ticket seller in front of over 40,000 people, you deserve a lot more than that. I think YouTube is intentionally letting inappropriate content grow on the site, so the UK had an excuse to force that as well, and also the prawn thing. Which obviously, I don't think that the children should be able to watch that stuff, but they should ban prawn. They shouldn't ask for IDs. They should ban prawn. Ah, NGs, come on, box lad. I knew you was a 4chaner, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I knew you was a 4chaner because of the questions you asked about Finland, about Bongza, yeah, the nonce. And stuff like that. I knew you was a 4chaner. Anyway, I went and checked 4chan. As I said, I lurk. I don't post, but I lurk. And there was a lot of conversation. And they were asking you what questions to ask, which I've got no problem with, by the way. I like 4chan. I don't think it's as good as it was back in the day. I've been a channer for like over 10 years. And there used to be FBI Anon and Hollywood Anon. I mean, they used to actually reveal some serious stuff, which was all true. I knew about Epstein years before it came out. Why? Because I was a 4chaner on Pole. But as for box, I like box, you know. I get a bit bored with the bongs and stuff. Who cares, man? And, you know, but, you know, at least it is a vaguely free speech forum. Yeah, you got the Jannies that might take down what you say, but on the whole, it's anonymous, even though it isn't really, because obviously they check your IPs. But if you know how to hide your IP, you know, there are a number of ways. People think, oh, VPNs, but you can't actually really post on 4chan on a VPN. I mean, a public one. You have to have your own individual one, and there's a bunch of ways. But you know it because you're on the forum, so you know it, brother. Will Frillian White Knickers be paid to lose? No, I don't think so. Because I genuinely think that, I mean, he needs the money, but he's quite a proud guy. And he knows that should he beat Italma, he gets probably a title shot against Usyk. So, you know, and he's been harassed, you know, for knocking little hats and stuff. So I don't believe so. I believe he's taking it seriously. I just believe that Queensberry think that Tam will definitely beat him, and it's a great name to have. And they made it pay-per-view. So Queensberry are making loads of money. DAZN are making loads of money. The fighters will make money. I've got no problem with the fighters making loads of money, by the way. They're the people that should make the money. They're the people that are risking their lives. You know, a professional boxer, the average lifespan of a professional boxer is 10 years less than the rest of the populace. So think about that. Will Gidje be paid to lose against Big Jake? It won't happen, man. Not yet. Ah, Larry Jablinski. I haven't seen you for a bit. It's great to see you, man. Evening to you, brother. Salut. I hope you're well. Evening, mate. Yeah, NG's base boxing. Yeah, NG's knows. He's a channer. If Jay Paul fights Gay Jay, he will lost only to the 2 Brits he ever faced. You know, like Gay Jay, if you go to the basket weaving forum, yeah, if you go to the Croatian basket weaving forum, they always call Joshua Gay Jay. Who named him Gay Jay? Triple B. I named him Gay Jay. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud that I changed Joshua's name on FogChan, on Box. Because before that, he was called Anthony Johnson or G-String. I don't know why he was called G-String. That's pretty whack. He was called Anthony Johnson because it was quite funny. He was at a basketball match. And who's that guy called? That light-skinned guy. He used to play for... Who did he play for? What was his name? Oh, man. Something Miller. Reggie Miller. I think it was Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller. I used to love basketball until I watched the full match and I realized it's boring. When you watch the highlights, basketball's awesome. And it's a great game to play. In fact, if you watch the Olympics, they had like, I think it's 3-on-3 or 2-on-2 street ball type thing with a short clock. That's really exciting. But a full-time NBA game is actually boring because it can only be exciting if the points are very close and it's getting near the end of the match because there's so many scores. But and that's why I got called Anthony Johnson. I think Reggie Miller said, "Oh, guess who's here? Anthony Johnson's here." I did a video about it. It might have been on the old channel. Gonzalez was an arrogant bully who did not learn to adapt to the pro. Oh, you mean yeah? He also had the worst haircut. He wasted his talent. Bowen Weatherspoon gave him a pacing. Yeah, he had that kind of slipped. It's like a man who has a wig and it slipped backwards. But I still quite liked him. Stewart had a good fight against Holyfield. Yes, he did. He did. But he still got stopped. Gay Jay might get paid to dive for what, against Paul? Nah, I can't see it happening, bro. I can't. Gay Jay is too big a name to buy, in my opinion. Would you beat the Ibiza final boss over 12 rounds? Oh, you mean that guy? Yeah, I've seen it. So there's this guy, and he's dancing, and he's quite muscular. He's just dancing at a club. And he's got this, it's like a pudding bowl. They put a pudding bowl and cut his hair all around here. So he's called the last Ibiza boss because, to be honest, he's become famous because of it. Now, he probably loves it, but actually being famous is actually a poison chalice. It's much better to have money without fame. Gonzalez thought he was very smart by defending all the shots with his face. Literally no guard. Even Wilder had a better guard. Yeah, but to be honest, I always liked Jorge Luis Gonzalez. My thoughts are Roe. It's not happening. Yeah, I couldn't. Gonzalez, Bo really dealt with him, but really Bo in his prime for a short period was an extremely good heavyweight. But Gallotta finished him. I mean, he's only got like one loss, right, Bo? Officially, one loss to Holyfield for the first fight, and he knocked out Holyfield. People forget that. So I think, if I'm right, he lost the first fight. Which was the fight with the fan man guy? Was that the second fight or the first fight? Let me have a look. Riddick Bowe. So, but they had a third fight, and Riddick Bowe knocked out Evander Holyfield in 8 rounds. So, yeah, Big Daddy has 43 wins, 33 KOs, and 1 loss officially. Only 1 loss to Holyfield. And I can't remember whether the fan man. Oh yeah, the first one was the fan man. I remember I stayed up for that. I watched it on one of those old TVs, with a round screen, not the LED TVs. And I was just like, I was very young as well, and I was just like, this is insane. I think probably boxing out of all the sports has got the weirdest things happening there. Fight Big John Fisher, Triple B. If he beats you, you have to buy him Chinese takeaway for the next 10 years. Nah, Fisher would beat me because he's young, he's big, and can punch. And, he's too young. But, in world terms, he's not going to make it. But, he's still a big, aggressive puncher. And that's why I said to all the fans, in the Babbage fight, and it was like 8-1 in the first round. I said, go on Johnny Fisher in the first round. Babbage is a bum. He's a cabbage, Babbage. He can't take a punch. And I already said, was it Ryan Rosiski? No, it wasn't Ryan Rosiski. It was someone, a Polish guy who was 38 and hadn't fought in like 2 years. But he could punch. I said, go for him in the first round. It was for the Bridgerweight title, and that was 14-1. You could have made a lot of money if you listened to the Triple B. Would Timmy Funnels beat Gage? Yeah, of course not. He's awful, and he's a sort of light heavyweight cruiser. I want to see Jalolov. He's a timer. I don't even know if Jalolov is going to really fight. I think he's bored. People don't realize that Jalolov, and I think all Kazakh fighters, because they dominated the last Olympics, the male ones, they didn't have any females. With the males, they won 5 out of, I think, 5 gold medals, because they get at least £1 million, right, paid to them by the Kazakh government if they win. A guy like Jalolov, who's won world champs and 2 gold medals, he's made millions. Millions. He doesn't even need to go pro. But I want him to. Obviously, he's gone pro, but they keep on cancelling his fights. Thomas actually 46. No, he's 56. Hard-hitting Bert Cooper also passed 2019. I knew that. For some reason, Cooper and Stewart never thought would have been entertaining stuff. Yeah, Bert Cooper was a very exciting fighter. He was originally, right, I'm going to check his record. He was originally under the wing of Joe Frazier, because he was similar in the way that he had, you know, a good left hook. Smoking Bert Cooper. He ended up with a very bad record. 38 wins, 31 KOs, 25 losses though, 16 by KO. But, you know, so early on he got beat by Reggie Gross. Didn't Reggie Gross get beaten by Tyson, Mike Tyson, and the other guy, Frank Bruno? I think so. You know, he went a distance. He beat Henry Tillman, who was whack as a pro. Tyrone Booth. Oh, he killed Willie DeWitt. That's right. So Willie DeWitt won a silver medal against. Correct me if I'm wrong. Henry Tillman as a heavyweight at the LA Olympics, and he was going to be a big star, Willie DeWitt. But they put him in against Bert Cooper. I have no idea why, because Bert Cooper's dangerous, and he knocked him out in 2 rounds. What else have we got? Who else did he beat that's good? He got stopped by George Foreman in 2 rounds. He KO'd Orlin Norris. Good result in 8 rounds. Big Daddy Bo knocked him out in 2 rounds. However, probably the most... He knocked out Joe Hip, a decent fighter, who'd only lost once at a time. Tommy Morrison also stopped him with a broken jaw. He knocked him out in 5 rounds. So Bert Cooper's one of those guys that blows hot and cold. So sometimes he will batter a really good fighter, and other times he will look whack. Look at this. After losing to Holyfield, so he beat Joe Hip, then he went in against Holyfield at the last minute, because Holyfield was going to fight Francesco Damiani, who was actually a really good fighter. But as a pro, he beat Teofilo Stevenson. He got a silver medal against Tyrell Biggs. Most people thought he won that fight in the LA Olympics, which are crooked as anything, right? What else I talk about Damiani? So anyway, Bert Cooper went the distance with David Jaco, who could punch a bit, but was a skinny heavyweight and ironed out by Mike Tyson. And he was 24 wins, 21 losses, and he only went the distance with Bert Cooper. He lost to an aging Mike Weaver. Corey Sanders knocked him out in 3. So on and on. So what you get? Oh, Joe Savage. This is very interesting. You remember Joe Savage? He was the bare knuckle guy, allegedly like John Fury, unbeaten in 100 fights. He boxed Bert Cooper in his debut and got knocked out in a round. Now I don't know what Joe Savage was thinking. You know, why did he beat a borderline? Why did he fight a borderline world class guy in his first pro fight? He looked about 100 as well. So who else? So Zolkin, Chris Bird beat up Bert Cooper. Bert Cooper KO'd Richie Melito, who was unbeaten at the time in a round. and blah blah. So he's lost a lot of fights, but he's got some really good wins. But R.I.P. Bert Cooper. Yeah, unfortunately he's passed away. Like Alex Stewart. I didn't know about Alex Stewart. I'm sad about that. Invite Jake Paul and Light Stewart. You'll never come, man. Come on, man. Who's more creepy, Ben Shalom or Gareth the Anal Davis? Wow, probably Gareth the Anal, because there's something that. See, Ben Shalom's super creepy, and he's got a greasy face with a big nose, and he's not to be trusted. But Gareth Davis is creepy. He's the kind of guy who would try and. He's about 60. He's the kind of guy who would try it on with a 18-year-old girl in a bar. And he said Francesca Hennessy was the female Lomachenko. She seems to have disappeared, thankfully. Right, they announced the Canelo vs Crawford undercard. Who's on it, bro? Tell me who's on it. I can have a look, but tell me who's on it. Who'd you put between Ricky Hatton and Mickey Ward? Great fight. What a shame it didn't happen. Mickey Ward vs Ricky Hatton. That would have been an awesome fight. It all depends on when it would have happened. See, Mickey Ward was kind of aging by the time Hatton was coming up, and they didn't want to make that fight because Mickey Ward, he came to Britain, didn't he? And he knocked out a couple of prospects, right? That were he was expected to lose to. What were their name? Did he fight Thaxton or am I tripping? Irish Mickey Ward. There's so many Mickey Wards. Okay, here we go. Irish Mickey Ward. So who did he knock out? There was a British guy who was a big hope and a WBU titleist, and Irish Mickey Ward knocked him out. Let me find out his name. Shay Neary. Irish Shay Neary. So he was a big prospect and unbeaten, and he got stopped by Mickey Ward, I think, for the WBU title. And yes, the WBU title, the light welter. And Shay Neary is a weird one because obviously he used to call himself Irish Shay Neary. Shay Neary is a very Irish name, but he was in the British Army and he went to Northern Ireland. So imagine that. So he was considered a traitor by the Irish people. Could Jalolov beat Usyk now? Do you think Jalolov? No. At this moment, well, he could do, but at this moment, I would lean towards Usyk just because he's just shown himself to be so superior and to be able to fight big guys. I just don't think Jalolov's heart is in the pro game. I really don't. Does Tamakeo White? Probably. But there's at least a chance. Are they using voice to Skulltech V2K? I don't. Give me more info, bro. David, what up, brother? We all good, man. NGs. Is that guz? You know what I'm talking about? The N word. Guz. I think White chins Tommy. That's a great shape. Tommy expert family. Yeah. What does the rest of 4chan think, brother? Awesome. Tell them the Triple B. Ask Box who's going to win between Itama, and Dillian White. White has a chance. I'd say it's probably about 20% chance. I still expect Itama to win. No, I think 20% chance is realistic. That's like 5-1 for him to win. I think you can get 8-1 on White. Because no one's tested Itama's chin. Oh, will Trump be the last president? Oh, it's been spoken about, possibly. Oh, and Witherspoon has a YouTube channel, does he? Oh, cool, man. I really like Terrible Tim. He broke my heart. I don't know how old I was, like, prepubescent, I think, when Witherspoon fought Bruno, and there was a lot of hype. It was on all the papers, right? And my heart was broken because at that time I was naive. I was a young kid. I didn't know that Bruno was a wrong and a bum. And I didn't know Witherspoon. But I remember reading articles thinking, this is where Witherspoon seems like a cool guy. So I think Freddie Nickers knocks out a town around 4. Interesting. How you should put money on it. Come on, man. Why you talk about women's boxing? Francesca Hennessy vs Shannon Corney. Who do you think wins that one? They're both whack. Shannon Corney is basically just a pub server who trained for a couple of years, allegedly won the world title. I don't hate her. But, you remember she used to jump on all Eddie Hearn's lives. Hey, can I join Eddie? Can I join Eddie? She probably wants to go back to serving. Francesca Hennessy, she's got some okay moves, well, dance moves anyway. But I think probably Hennessy on points. But I don't really care. It's women's boxing. I couldn't give her a rat's ass. Where's Ernie? Is he baking 6 million cakes this evening? Where's Ernie? If you've got 2 ovens and it takes 8 hours to bake your cake, how can you bake 6 million? Shh. Adelaide talking himself up for Ergovich fight. Ergovich looks in super shape. He's actually got a 6-pack, which you never used to have. He looks really muscular. He's definitely up for it. I have Adelaide getting stopped by Ergovich. It's a 10-rounder though, right? Isn't your life is about 10 years less if you work nights? I don't know, but definitely if you work as a pro boxer. Also, Battimans have a 15 to 20 years less life expectancy. That's how unhealthy that lifestyle is. So why are they pushing it onto kids? Well, you know the answer. I know there's no rhetorical questions on the Triple B usually, but this one is a rhetorical question. Well, you guys answer it. Yeah, Michael Maloney, my man's. Joshua put Jake Paul in hospital, this and that. Yeah, it's not going to happen, bro. And if it is, Joshua has to promise not to knock him out. And they'll go 10 rounds. But it's not going to happen. Surely not. Yeah, it'll be a fake scripted fight. LaMotta did live until he was about 90. I think it's more than that. I think Max Schmeling lived to be 99. I've got a signed Max Schmeling picture, by the way. LaMotta. I've also got a signed LaMotta picture. I think he lived to be 95, which is incredible for a guy who took so many punches and had so many fights, but he had such a big head, LaMotta. He couldn't punch. He had his little hands, didn't he? Do you know how Jay LaMotta lost? I read his biography. It wasn't bad. But do you know how he lost his V? By grape in the back seat of a taxi or something like that. Pretty bowl. In my day, that haircut was called a basin. Bring back the basin, yeah. I've got to get. He's got a Blackadder haircut. I used to really like Blackadder. That's bad. Blackadder 1 haircut when he had the pudding bowl. Blackadder 1 was a weird one because it was hit and miss. There's a couple of the Blackadder series that are really good, are really amusing, like the one with the Scotsman, Macangus. That's good, and another one where he becomes the bishop. And there's the Bishop of Bath. No, the Bishop of Bath and Wells is Blackadder too. But he becomes the Archbishop of Canterbury. It's very anti-Christian. It mocks Christian a lot. But Blackadder 4 was actually one of the most interesting ones because it's really good and it's dealing with such a dark situation. And it drops truth bombs, by the way. Like, he jokes, oh, right, oh, what's the plan? Should we just walk forward into machine gun fire like we've done every other time? And that's exactly what happened in the First World War. Bow eating habits done him. Yeah, he had that's right. He had a fridge in his room. The bedroom. There's too many AI bots on YouTube. I don't get that many here though. Should be on the 88 head and balls are getting bigger. I just want my fists to get bigger, bro. I want to get those little lumps on my fist that Gay J and Daniel Dubon has and Atama have. Pound for Pound King, welcome, brother. I like your avatar. Bo Dutt-Lewis in his pros. The Chaos in Olympics stayed in 10. Yes, however, he refused to fight Lennox because he knew how dangerous Lennox was. So he dropped the WBC. You remember that? He dropped the WBC belt in the bin. Right? And then they put Razor Ruddock, who was very dangerous, for Lewis. And that was expected to be a 50-50 fight. But Lewis destroyed Ruddock. And he won the WBC title. But they say Bo Dutt-Lewis after he got stopped in the Olympics. But I would ask you to watch the Olympics fight again. It's not a good stoppage. And actually, the story is, oh, Bo was outclassed and then stopped. That's not the case, actually. He got stopped on quite a dodgy stoppage and he was giving Lennox plenty of trouble. But Lennox deservedly won. But this whole narrative of Bo getting destroyed isn't right. The guy that gave Bo should have lost before. Anyway, Alex Miroshnichenko from Russia or from the USSR, it was that, dropped him at least once. I think it might be more. Let me have a look. He dropped him with body shots and was robbed of the win. So actually, Riddick Big Daddy Bo should have lost to Alex Miroshnichenko. Let me have a look. Alex Miroshnichenko, who turned pro, by the way, and did really well until he came into, I think it's Oleg Maskayev, got knocked out in a round. Let's have a look. No, he knocked out in 3 rounds by Oleg Maskayev on Oleg Maskayev's debut, right? So let's go and have a look at the amateurs. The amateurs of Alex Miroshnichenko, right? So he lost to Big Daddy Bo on unanimous decision. It doesn't actually say on BoxRec, but he definitely dropped Bo at least once. I thought it was maybe more than once, but I think Bo could have beat Lewis. Yeah, he actually had a good chance because Bo had a short prime, but when he had that prime, he was awesome, you know. If anyone wants to fight on the Undisputed game, let me know. Call out to anyone who wants it. Yeah, so listen to Footnotes. If you want it, game's decent, most realistic boxing game I've ever played. I haven't done any games for ages. The last boxing game I remember, I did play on, I think it was Undisputed. What's the one on the PlayStation? My mate had it. But it's like all games, it takes time to learn. But I remember Evander Holyfield's boxing on the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis. I like that. I should buy it. Chubby looking like it's Thomas' long lost brother. Yeah, I've got a better chin than his actual brother, Carol Otama, who's a bum. Shedder Ward was a good fight. It was. And Ward was always dangerous, with especially the left hook to the body. There's a really good documentary, by the way, on YouTube. I think it's still there. They made a film about it, you know. I think it was called something Whack Like the Fighter, and it had Patrick Bateman, actor. What's his name? Anyway, he was playing Mickey Ward's brother, and Mickey Ward's brother, half brother, I can't remember his name, but he went the distance with Leonard, and they claim he knocked him down, but Leonard actually just tripped. And he was a really bad crackhead. And there's actually a documentary on YouTube, way better than the film, which shows, what was his brother called? It was something, he had a Danish name or some kind of Germanic name. And he was a great pro. And but he was a drug addict and he had no discipline. Ward vs. Gat is my favorite non-title battle of all time. I mean, they were just crazy. I actually remember watching it and I was like, it almost put me off boxing. It didn't, obviously, but I was so brutal that I almost was like, come on, man. You look like the Twitch emoji. I don't know what that is, man. I don't know what Twitch emoji is. Hatton was better fighter than Ward. Ward was an overachiever. Hatton was genuine world level. Well, that's kind of true, but it doesn't mean that Ward wouldn't have won because boxing is never that simple, right? Think about it. Senchenko knocked out Ricky Hatton with a body shot. I won a lot of money on that, you know? Floyd Mayweather, who'd hardly knocked anyone, knocked out Hatton. It was very unfair on Hatton, that fight. The referee was so crooked. Ward was limited, but it doesn't mean he wasn't very tough and he had a lethal left hook to the body. Railway goes, Christian Mbili, where's he from? Allegedly France, via Cameroon, right? He's Lester Martinez. I don't know who Lester is. Callum Smith, he's Fernando Vargas Jr. Okay. I think the best one is Emiliano Vargas. They're the sons of Fernando Vargas Senior, who was a good fighter. I liked him. I liked his little, he had a haircut, right? Real black hair there. His 2 blonde bits like that. But, Senior, Fernando Vargas Senior still looks in good shape and his sons are all boxing. And I think Emiliano, though, is the bad boy. Moses chins him with round 4 upcut. Dylan? Yeah, very possibly. Yeah, Ward wasn't the best. He was hard trained, had a sickening left hook to the body. Clock to Hatton Zoo and others would have beat him definitely. Yeah, but you never know. If you land that one punch, Leon Spinks is rubbish, but he still beat Muhammad Ali. So, you know, it all depends on timing, whether someone's trained properly. If you catch them with a good shot, you catch them with a good shot. Didn't your mate Max Jenkins do something with Shannon Corney's balloon on? Oh, that's just too good. Cyborg, thank you, my brother. For $14.99 Aussie. What's up, brother? It's glad to see you away. I did an Aussie show especially for me Aussie fans yesterday. It's great to see you there. It was the timing because I don't know what, it's probably like, I don't know, 8 a.m. where Cyborg is. So thank you, brother. That's very generous. Bless you. I hope you're well. So anyone talking about Joshua Paul just said don't care, basically. Yeah, Lamont was 95. Sugar Ray Robinson used to beat his wife for register. I didn't hear that, but he was definitely of a secret society. The 100% confirmed secret society boxers, and it must be more than these guys, are Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey, Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Frazier, Manny Pacquiao, and a bunch of other guys too. Lamont had really small hands. I mean, yeah, he's complaining about it because he couldn't really punch, but it's very physically strong. Yeah, he didn't have a high KO ratio, but his relentless start earned the KOs. Like Laurent Dautil, the French guy, was beating him, and was in the 15th round, and he was basically about to win the title, and then Lamotta pretended to be hurt, and then went nuts and stopped him. Great fight, but he was a nasty bit of work. Like I said, he lost his V through grape in the back of a car, and he admits it. He doesn't even lie. And he beat up his wife. He beat up his brother, who's played by Joe Pesci in Raging Bull. You want to understand about Raging Bull? Why they made it in black and white? Oh, because it was the 50s, everything's in black. No, stupid, man. Maybe have the fights in black and white, Maybe have the fights in black and white to reflect what it was like on TV then. But not the whole film. It's pathetic. I think it's a Scorsese film. I don't really think it. Because of that, it puts me off. Lamont did admit it in his book. Yep. Are you using bag mitts or gloves? When I hit the bag? Oh, no. You know what? I used to use bag gloves to hit the bag, right? And they don't have that much padding on them, and they're quite slim, and don't weigh very much. But you don't fight with those. I remember, so I would put on a pair of 12-ounce gloves to hit the bag, and my trainer goes, why aren't you wearing bag gloves? Why are you wearing it? I said, well, you don't fight with bag gloves, do you? You fight with 10 or 12-ounce gloves. So that's why I'm wearing them. And he actually looked at me and goes, yeah, you're right. Henry Armstrong, what was he, another Roman? Lamotta apparently raped a woman, killed a man in robbery. They're not 100% sure about the killing because there's a story, and it may be PR and bullshit, but allegedly, so he really battered a guy in a robbery, and then allegedly he met him later at a fight. But that sounds like a PR BS. Gerald, have you got a gym in Melbourne? No, but if I do get to Oz, I'm definitely training, bro. So will you take me? You live in Melbourne, right? So yeah, take me to the gym. And also my boy Cyborg. Cyborg, do you live in Melbourne? Cyborg, yeah, I want to come to Australia. The problem is the distance and the cost. But I'd love to come to Oz. Yeah, I'd love to come to Oz. If Bo fought Lewis after Holyfield won, Bo would probably have beaten Lewis if he'd stayed just as dedicated as he did for Holyfield. Yeah, at his best, I remember I had a friend who's involved in the boxing business, and he said, and this is a very clever statement about boxing, is because it's all about timing and how well you've trained and this kind of stuff, and whether the other guys train. He said, if Riddick Bowe, who'd fought the same way as you fought Holyfield in the first fight, had fought Lennox Lewis, I think he would have won. But if the Gallotta Bowe had fought Lewis would have won. I mean, you can't do this in boxing. Like, they always go, well, of course, X would beat Y because Y beat Z, but that's not how it works, right? Like Gallotta got absolutely splattered by Lennox Lewis, but he battered Bowe. It's never that simple, boxing. Henry Armstrong had the lightweight, welterweight, middleweight titles. Yes, you simultaneously was lucky to lose a split decision light heavyweight title. I didn't even know you fought for the light heavyweight title. I remember Sugar Ray Robinson fought for the light heavyweight title. Let's have Ray Robinson. There's Ray Robinson fought, who was it? A white guy, Willie Pastrana, is that right? And he got exhausted, and Pastrana stopped him. Pastrana, I think it's Pastrana, correct me if I'm wrong. Pastrana also was a Customato fighter. Yeah. I don't know if he got great. Probably not, because he was white. But yeah, so, you know. Oh, it was Joey Maxim. I'm sorry. Joey Maxim, not Pastrana. Maxim was another skillful fighter. But in those days, they didn't know about, you know, they had to weigh in on the same day, and they didn't know how to put on weight, and they didn't have PEDs. So, the full channel. Ungus. And he also carried his debut by Al Lovino. Wow, man, that's some good knowledge, man. I didn't know what these things. You know, it's amazing. Like, even though I've followed boxing for years and been obsessed by it, I will still find out things like that. So I've got Henry Armstrong up here. He got stopped only twice in 170 fights or something. Right? So you say he got stopped on his debut. You know who also got stopped on their debut? I think in a round or 3 rounds, Joe Bugner, but he was only 17. Hang on. So Armstrong got killed on his debut by Al Lovino. Okay, all I will say is this: not. Hang on, let me have a look. Well, yes, you're absolutely right, Mister. Yeah, big up, box, big up, box. He not only did he get KO'd by Al Lovino, who I knew nothing about, he lost 3 of his first 4 pro fights. Wow, isn't that interesting? So they would have thought he was nothing, and yet, he became one of the best fighters. So Al Lovino ended up with a record of 8 wins, only 2 KOs, one of which is Henry Armstrong, 7 losses, 3 draws, and 2 losses by KO. That's amazing, man. Great bit of knowledge. Much appreciated. Cyborg. No, I train at the British gym at Kingsbury, Jared. Is that in Melbourne though, bro? Cool, mate. You from Melbourne? Oh, Dickie Eklund. We're going backward. I'm obviously behind the time. Dickie Eklund was the brother of Mickey Ward, with a half brother, very talented, gave Leonard a decent fight. But the so-called, I knocked Leonard down stuff is nonsense. It's like the Chuck Webber knocked down Ali. You know, they were just off balance. And he was a major junkie. Yeah, watch the documentary about Dickie Eklund and Boston. It's nuts. Ward had a film called The Fighter. Then Mark Wahlberg played Ward. Christian Bale, the brother. That's right, Pat Bateman. Yeah, Eklund Ward. That's right. Thank you. Stars makes fights, of course, and also timing, and whether someone's trained hard enough, and what happens on the night, whether they made the weight properly. You know, whether there's all kinds of reasons. Yeah, Cyborg. Yeah. I never knew that, man, and I didn't know he'd lost 3 out of 4. Dickie Eklund was in Iraq for a while. He was in prison 5 years. HBO documentary. He was. That's the documentary I'm talking about, I believe. Jared Miller. I'm from Dandenong, Cyborg. I don't know what that is, but 7:20 a.m. I'm off work this week. Oh, well, that's good. That's great to see you. Thank you for the cash money. If anybody wants to show love, remember, I only do about 2 hours. I was only doing an hour, but I love it so much. I enjoy my fans, the chat so much. But if you want to show love, you know what to do. Cyborg's up north, Bundura. Is it in the same area though, bro? Can you guys link up? Keith was a police officer. Keith who, bro? The breeding bull. That breeding bull. Sugar Shane v Dean White. Who with? Great fight. Dean White, who's allegedly the husband of Dillian. I think he had I don't know if there's anything on Boxer. I think he had a kickboxing career. He's a huge man. He actually dwarfs Dillian White. But then Sugar Shane Fury, and they say if you check Sugar Shane Fury, they will say, oh, he never had a single fight, right? He never had a single fight. Yes, he did. He had at least 6, and he fought Fraser Clark. But then, they decided to push Tyson, and Sugar Shane became his confidant and friend. But Sugar Shane v Dean White, I say Sugar Shane. But Dean White's a big man. Hitting the heavy bag with 18-ounce for a few rounds and dropping some bag gloves unlocks new speed. What exactly? But there's no point wearing bag gloves because obviously you're going to be really fast. Like if you shadow box, you're like, you're lightning. I see guys in the fitness gym After they've seen Triple B on the bag and batter it, and I'm like George Foreman on the bag at the moment. Hard punches. Someone came up to me and goes, "You got this kid who boxes. Not, I don't know if he's had any. He does MMA and boxing, and I take him on the pads sometimes. He's got a decent left hook. He's only about 10 stone, but he's solid. And he's like, 'What's up, Brad? What's up, Chip? We haven't seen you for a bit.' And I said, 'Oh, I'm all right, man.' I said, he goes, what's going on?" I said, "I don't know, man. I'm in a bad mood, and I'm going to batter that bag. You see that bag? I'm going to smash it." And he come out afterwards and goes, "Whoa, bro, you just smashed it." I said, I told you. And then he hit the bag with bare knuckles, which is not a good thing to do because that's how you pick up injuries. Awesome, Cyborg. Are you training, or have you got any training suggestions with someone with a floating disc? You got a problem with your back. Yeah, the back is the worst part, the worst bone, the worst part of the body to injure because it affects everything. My back kind of hurts a bit, but it's a muscular thing. Breeding bull, 18 ounces are too big. They're a bit stupid because also even if you spar with 18-ounce gloves, they're that big. So you just sit it like that, and no one can hit you because they've got huge gloves as well. And I said one of those bullies. Yeah, you don't get those bullies in amateur clubs, probably pro as well, right? And even if they're really experienced, I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen a future European pro champion knock out a guy having his first spar, and he put on 12-ounce gloves, and the other guy was wearing 16-ounce gloves. Scumbag. But 18 ounces are too big, yeah, for sure. Dwight Muhammad Kwawi, I think his second name was passed away. Yep, he was called Dwight Braxton originally. Bang Daddy Paddy in the house. Allegedly, Sugar Shane was more talented than Tyson, but didn't apply himself. Tyson said so in his autobiography. I mean, Sugar Shane definitely looks dangerous. He's big. You've seen him. He doesn't get intimidated, does he? You know, when Wilder was giving all that crap, he was like, yeah, whatever, man. Whatever. So, yeah, Sugar Shane. But I think they decided we're going to concentrate on Tyson. You see, Sugar Shane and Tyson are really close, which I think is lovely to see two brothers so close, you know. And Shane, you know, backed him 100%, so I like that. Bang Daddy Benz, this is a proper live, bro. Yeah, it is. So let's see some super checks from someone. Triple B far too tough and skilled for Ben, Nigel Ben. Oh, absolutely. He's somewhat underrated, Golovkin, because he's not American or British, and you know, English ain't his first language. You know, they always underrate Eastern European fighters. We noticed that deliberately. Teddy Atlas used to say that Teddy Atlas is a bum, a liar, and a scumbag. The lawyer's son, who claimed he was New York Golden Gloves champion until he was exposed, and then he claimed he was Appalachian. The Appalachian Mountains are in a redneck area, right? It's very sparsely populated. He says Appalachian Golden Gloves. Well, I did a check, and I put it in my video. There's no such thing as the Appalachian Golden Gloves, so he's a liar. But yeah, Triple G had a super chin. In fact, when you talk about chins, the weirdest thing about chins is you see guys like George Chavallo, Oliver McCall, Jake LaMotta with huge heads, and they look like they can take a punch. You know, you look at them, you're like, them guys can take a punch. You know? And then you look at Triple G, and he looks like an accountant, and you're like, really? But no, he's got one of the best chins and the biggest, and a huge puncher. Yeah, he would have beaten Nigel. And I'm a Nigel Benn fan, you know? I once punched a kicker bag, not a good move, like hitting a tree. Oh, you mean the proper Thai boxing? Yeah, the proper Thai boxing bags are really long. I started off doing Thai boxing, by the way. I never had a fight. I was lined up for one, but it didn't happen. And to be honest, I can't take a kick to the legs. It really hurts. I can take a good chin. My body is okay, but the kick to the legs were just brutal, man. It's like being hit with a baseball bat on the legs. I mean, but the Thai kick bags, they're really long, and they are really solid inside. That's how you build up. I think Paul Briggs was a Thai boxer before, and he said, and you know, they've got all these tricks. Oh, you got to hit your You got to hit your shins with a bit of wood, and I used to try that. I was like, ow, ow, ow. I tried it; it didn't make no difference. Paul Briggs, I think it's Paul Briggs, was a Thai boxing champion, and he said all you've got to do is smash the Thai boxing bag with your shins again and again and again and again, and it toughens them up. Yeah. Have you put me up on 4chan, by the way? I'm going to see you, man. I'm not saying you're a grass. I mean, I've got no problem with you putting me up on 4chan. When I looked at 4chan, you were like posting all the time on 4chan on box. Yeah? Saying, shall I ask him this? Shall I ask him about Finland? Oh, he hasn't answered my question. Well, I'm sorry, man. I get a lot of questions. I'm sorry I didn't answer your question. I think I did eventually. But yeah, let's have a look. Let's see if they're talking about the Triple P on on box. Probably not, but they have done. Oh, they've got a box on 4chan. The Mongolian Basketball Forum says the title of the thread is Corey Tower 5 week. Teddy Atlas, son of Doctor. Oh, I thought he was a lawyer. Bro. He didn't tell us was a good training Chubby. No, he had the right look about him. Good video about him, by the way. No, he's terrible. Lalonde made a large comment. I assume it's still there. Have a look on and he said, yeah, he was a scumbag, he's a liar. I don't know about the Tyson story, the gun story. He goes, I'm not sure. He's very honest on it along. He's a very decent guy. He was a very powerful puncher. Sugar Ray Leonard made him get down to like 168. Do you remember that? And fight for the light heavyweight and super middle title. And Lalonde dropped him. He had a lovely blonde mullet. And Lalonde did well, but eventually he tired. Leonard stopped him quite brutally. It's quite a brutal knockout. Teddy Atlas talked a lot of crap in his book, a lot of shit. He took on 5 men and laid them out. Oh, that's the most hilarious thing. He's such a liar. I fought I can fight, but I fought groups of guys. Every time I fought groups of guys, I took a hiding. Why? Because you cannot fight that many men, right? And one of them, I chinned one of the guys, but the other guys just jumped on me, pulled me on the floor, and kicked the living daylights out of me. You can't. And so Teddy Atlas had this liar story. It's such a, it's a lie just by the way he talks about it. He goes, oh, yeah, I was there with a couple of friends, and, and then some thugs 5 guys came up to us and started on us. Well, I say they were friends, but they ran away, leaving me on my own. And then this guy slashed me in the face with a razor blade. What a load of nonsense. It's completely straight. When he slashed someone in the face, it's going to be like that. It's going to be curved. It's not a straight line right down. He did it to himself. He's a liar. And he said he took on 5 men and knocked them all out after being slashed in the face. What a liar, man. I'll read out his autobio way back and realize how full of shit he was. I mean, I wouldn't even bother. I might do it for fun one day, just so I can rinse him. I might start doing some. There's only a few good boxing books around. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a couple about Naz, one about Journeyman that's really good. There are, but there's not a lot of money writing about boxing, so there's not that many good books. But I was going to do some reviews. Prime Usyk or Prime George Foreman? Usyk, and I'll tell you why. Because Foreman is regarded as a monster, right? But yet he weighed like 218 when he beat Frazier. Usyk in his last fight was 227. He's 10 pounds heavier than Foreman. Foreman could really punch, but he was crude. He was so crude. The original Foreman. So yeah, Usyk definitely. No, without a doubt, he would have gassed. He would have got Foreman gassed, and then stopped him. Thai boxers rolling pin up and down the shit. Yeah, I tried that. It hurt. It didn't make no difference. People can't stop the leg kick. Stories Thai boxers get the nerves in the front shin removed. I hadn't heard that. A lot of people can't cop the leg. A lot of people can't cop the leg. Yeah, they're so painful. Yeah, my trainer, right? He wasn't particularly experienced. And I felt his shins, and it was like an iron baseball bat, harder than my pimp stick, way harder than the pimp stick. And I couldn't believe how hard it was. And when I took the shots and even blocked them with his shins, I was like, oh, ow. ow. So you know, I got skinny legs anyway, but you know, believe me, man, woof. You know, if I fought a good Thai boxer, he's taking me out because I can't take it. I can't. I've got glass shins. I've got glass legs. But in boxing, that's a different story. I thought Thai boxers run babu, yeah, up their shins. That as well. They do a bunch of stuff. Have you seen that film with Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme? And he goes to Thailand with his alleged brother, who's Dennis Alexio, who's a really, really, really well-known kickboxer, and I think he only had one loss, right? So he's in this film. Well, Dennis Alexio is Latino and looks very Latino with a curly mullet, and they're trying to tell us that Van Damme's his brother. Anyway, he goes to Thailand and gets beaten up by Tong Po or whatever, and then Van Damme, a karate guy, spends about a couple of months training Thai and breaking trees. I know it's a movie. I mean, I know that, but you know, you've got to have some realism in movies, otherwise it just loses respect. Anybody want to give a super check? Even fight two people in the street inside you. Oh, Alice is back. Yeah. So I fought two people. These guys attacked me. They threatened to stab me. Yeah. So I just been to a supermarket and just smoked a blunt. These guys come towards me and they pretend they've got knives. So I get my bottle out. I'm like, come on then. And in fact, I had two of them. So I said, all right then, come on. And I realized they didn't have a knife. They go, no, just do it with fists. I go, all right then, come on. So I'm fighting two people. This one guy, he could really fight. I didn't know much about him. And he battered me, about 30 clean shots. He grabbed me by the hair, bum, 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 bum. And he could punch, but not that hard. And I just thought, I'm just going to get on top of him and we'll destroy him. And sure enough, and his mate was there kicking me. Sure enough, I eventually got him on the ground. It was on a hill, so it was downhill on a pavement. And I was sitting on his chest, and I said, I'm going to kill this guy now. I'm going to absolutely destroy him with elbows and ground and pound. But his mate, he goes, get off him. His mate goes, get off him. Can you imagine? They attacked me, threatened to stab me, and now he's crying because I'm about to batter his mate. Pulled me off him and kicked me in the head. And I didn't even get to land the shot. And then his mate came up, whacked me on the chin. I went on a knee, I got up, and I was like, I'm going to kill you now. And they ran off. Two guys ran off. They beat me up, but they ran off. I said, come back, you pussies. I will kill you. And there's people watching and stuff. Anyway. So yeah, fighting more than one person is not a good idea. Yeah. I started off Thai boxing as a kid. Oh, did you? I had a nut training, went missing, got nicked or something, pure nut. Well, fighting sports do attract nutters, man. You have to be taught to block them properly. Alexio could kick a car door off its hinges. Yeah, I think I've seen that video. I mean, he was an amazing kickboxer. But you know what? In the early days, right, they had kickboxing in America. And it wasn't that popular, but they showed it on ESPN. And you wear these gay gloves on their foots, and they wouldn't be able to kick with the shins or use the elbows. And they got Rick the Jet Rufus, I think it was, who fought as a pro as well, pro boxer, and was a super champion. And he had a brother called maybe Jeff Rufus, and he took on a Thai boxer in Thai rules, and he started off doing well. But then the kicks to the legs just took him out. You know, is John Ryder underrated? It depends who's rating him. I mean, I don't think he's that good. And also, he seemed to get on the eggs. How dangerous in the UK? Well, it's more dangerous than before. I mean, I want to look at the statistics because anecdotally, it's more dangerous. But is it more dangerous? I bet it is if you look at the stats. But you know, it's not as dangerous as Brazil. You know, it's you're unlikely to get shot, but you're a lot more likely. I had a pal who went to Colombia, and everyone think, oh, Colombia, dangerous, man, drug gangs, Yale, and he goes, I felt really safe there because I walk in a bar, everyone's real friendly. There's not idiots starting on me for nothing, like what happens in the UK. Yeah. But he goes, obviously, if you mess around with the drug dealers, then you're in trouble. But if you stay out of that, it's fine. So, never fight two people more. First rule is never let anyone get behind you. No, did it? Yeah. I once took on 8 guys in a pub who came in to rob it, and all these pussyholes, these white middle class pussyholes, just sat there with stupid looks on their face. And I'm like, no one's going to fucking do anything. So I was like, fuck these people. So I got up. I went, you lot, fuck off. They'd all lined up at different places in the pub to rob people. Yeah. Ute, black Ute. And I said, and the leader started striding towards me. So I got back. I made sure that I had the wall behind me and there was no one near me except him. Right? I said, all right, then, if you want it, you can have it. And I will knock you out. And he picked up a stool and tried to smash it on my head, like that. I just went like that. Boom, blocked it. Boom, blocked it. And then he ran off, and all his mates ran off. And afterwards, I started swearing, going, look at the fucking scumbags. And then this middle-class guy that was about to be robbed said, you can't say that. It's poverty that's driving them. I looked at him, I thought, I would never again risk my life. I could have been stabbed. I would never again risk my life for you white middle-class pussyholes ever, ever, ever again. And I don't get involved in anything now. This was ages ago when I was young, but youngish, you know, in my 20s. Never again. But put it this way: whenever I go to London, I got spiked with a belt with a big buckle. Nice. Always nice, man. Then you've got a recording of what's happened. Are you going to Tom Robinson March? No, because he's owned by Izza. I don't go on marches. They don't do anything apart from the poll tax riots. They never do anything. There was 1.5 million people in London who walked against the Iraq war. Did it make a difference? Of course not. Even though everyone knew there was no WMD, right? Food knows belt is best defense for a knife from what I've seen and experienced. A belt, really? What? I mean, what? You got to have a big buckle. What? You hit them with a buckle, swing it? I don't know, man. A belt doesn't seem to do that much damage. I don't know. Shelby knows Tommy is a sellout. Of course I do, man. And so should everyone. Yeah, a strong belt with a good buckle is useful against a weapon. Yeah. I don't really wear many belts. I've got a Gucci belt from back in the day, which has got a really solid Gucci buckle on it. I'm sure if I wrapped it around someone's head, it would hurt. That Paco Thai boxer character with the pink shots and blood spots was a bad man. Was his name Tong Po? I thought it was Tong Po Velschmerz. How are you, brother? It's good to see you on the live. I haven't seen you for a bit. How you been, bro? Remember, everybody, this is the last time I'm going to mention it. You can super chat, buy me a coffee, Bitcoin, Litecoin, show some love. I aim to stop pretty soon because I haven't eaten anything except one chicken thigh today. One chicken thigh. And I worked out at the gym for 2 hours. And then, I've had a little bit of wine and that's it. Oh, sorry, you're talking about blood sport, not kickboxer. Sorry, you're right. I was a Paco guy who just walked forward with his hands like that with pink shorts. But yeah, that's blood sport. Sorry. My bad. Which doesn't mean anything. My mistake. I hate people who say my bad. No, I don't hate them. It's just a stupid expression. My bad. My mistake. Yeah, you're talking about blood sport. Blood sport is actually a pretty cool film. I was obsessed by it when I first saw it. What's the name of the guy? The main guy who was also in Bruce Lee films. What's his name? You know the guy I'm talking about. Someone tell me. Can we have more discussion on female boxers, please? Yeah, I'll give you a discussion on female boxers. They're all whack. How long have you been live for? About 2 hours now, bro. I want Tom Po. Tom Po was from Kickboxer. Bloodsport was a story of the prolific liar. What is his name, that guy? He was such a liar. He actually could fight. It sounds weird. Even though he was a liar and he made a lot of money from it, he could fight. But he did he was on TV like breaking bricks and stuff. But I've actually seen pictures of him training. And he certainly could fight. But he wasn't... what's it called? Hang on, sorry, I'm looking. Oh, Frank Dukes, that's his name. Like he never did any blood sport. That's a complete lie. But you know, some people say, well, he made money from. Oh yeah, Bolo Young. Yeah, he's huge. But he's only about 5'6". He's got massive pecs, and yeah, he was in the Bruce Lee film and in the Van Damme film. So yeah, Bolo Young. That's it. He was a Thai boxer in real life. What, Frank Dukes? Frank Zane? No, Frank Zane's a different guy. Frank Dukes is the guy. That's it, Frank Dukes. A liar, a charlatan. But like I said, you know, you get a lot of these liars, and they've all been exposed now on YouTube. He's funny. He's fake martial artists who go, oh! And the guy falls over. And, you know, like Aikido. Aikido has been shown up. I thought Aikido looked pretty awesome because I watched Steven Seagal films, especially Out for Justice. Is that the one with the blood clot? You know, like, we got blood clot while we run, you know, one white boy, two brother, you know, blood clot, and he messes them up. It looked pretty cool. But in real life, Aikido's whack. No one does Aikido in UFC, do they? So that shows you it doesn't work. That's it, I am dead. Yeah, Frank Dukes, man. Frank Zane was a bodybuilder, that's correct. Correct. Okay, I'll have one more cigarette. See if anybody wants to show some love. I don't care, it just helps the channel. And like I said, every single penny that the people have given the Triple B goes towards my lawyer's fees to attack the wrong ones who stole me money from me. Shit, is it almost 11? Yeah, so we got a cigarette lasts about 7 minutes. So we've got 7 minutes. 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Drop a super check. So far we've had Fruit Nose, thank you very much for the $1.99. And my boy Cyborg, very generous, $14.99 Aussie. I'm enjoying it anyway, man. I could do this all night. But the fans love you. Thank you. I love the fans. So it's a mutual love. It's a mutual love. No homo. I've got the best fans, man. You know, Ricky Hatton probably watches my shows and goes, I wish me fans were as good as the Triple B's fans. Yeah, but at least Ricky Hatton's fans are happy to pay him, you know, $1,000 to watch him have a sparring session with Barrera. You remember that Marco Antonio Barrera? He actually didn't look bad, Hatton. It actually was quite good quality for, you know, an exhibition against two retired fighters. But did you notice in the fight, Hatton would occasionally let go of hard shots. But Barrera, you know, Barrera was quite spiteful. He was like, F him, I'm going to do it myself. And as soon as he started to throw power, the referee stopped him and had a word with him and told him not to throw power. You know? So imagine how unfair that is. And Barrera, who fought a lighter weight than Hatton, didn't he? You know, he fought like what, bantamweight and featherweight? Hatton fought a light welter and welter, right? And they're pals. So Hatton's allowed to throw the hard shots, but Barrera, who's naturally lighter, isn't. But Barrera obviously was just laughing, just taking the payday. But I think if it had been a proper fight, Barrera would have stopped Hatton. Barrera's just, I mean, he's had his losses. Didn't he lose to Junior Jones? But Barrera is just a kind of guy that he'll take the loss, but it won't make any difference to how good he is. He'll just carry on. Have you heard of Steven Seagal reggae song? Yeah. Yeah. It's quite funny. He talks in a cod Jamaican accent. Yeah, it's funny, man. I want to play it, but then they'll demonetize me, so I can't because it's copyrighted. Barrera was class. Also, you know Barrera, Marco Antonio Barrera, he's from a middle-class family. His dad, I think, was a lawyer, and he was still so tough and so good. You know, he had a big head as well, which is why he had a good chin. But Barrera was a super fighter, and he really spoke to Nazim. He really spoke to Nazim, you know, took care of Nazim, humiliated him. And after that, Nazim lost his confidence because he then fought, was it Cano or something from Spain or something? Juan Pablo Cano or something. And he he looked terrible, and he retired at 28, which is good. It's good to retire early and have your marbles. Mind you, Nazim didn't have many marbles. He was stupid. He was good at boasting, and he was funny, but he was stupid, wasn't he? Oh, I look great. Oh, look how handsome, man. You're ugly, man. You've got loads of gaps between your teeth. You're 5'4" and you're ugly. You're trying to do a 12-hour live stream. My longest one has been 7.5 hours for Bivol Beterbiev 2. So I've got no problem with that, man. It's hadn't fighting that Middle Eastern bum, allegedly, but I'm pretty. Even when I did a preview, and I said I'm pretty sure it will get, swiped. It won't happen because no one's interested. Didn't he KO Patman? What, Barrera? I don't think so. I mean, let me have a look, man. Marco Antonio Barrera, again, one of my favorite fighters. And like I said, he came from a middle-class background. Let's have a look. Pacquiao stopped him in 11 rounds, but he was older by then. But he still carried on until 2011. And he won a unanimous decision in a rematch in 2007 against Pacquiao. Wow, I'd forgotten all this. It's amazing how forgetful you can be. But Barrera was a super fighter. He took Naz to the cleaners, washed him, but he lost against Junior Jones twice. So that's what I mean. Like, who's a better fighter? Well, Barrera's a better fighter, but he still lost to Jones twice. And there's the Morales fights. He lost to Amir Khan on technical decision, but he was shot by then. That was just a payday thing. Do you know one of my favorite fighters are underrated? Paul Spadafora. I think he had one loss, all right? And he's most known for a sparring session against Floyd Mayweather. I mean, you don't look his. Let me see if I get a picture of Spadafora. Had loads of tattoos in the days when they didn't really have that many tattoos, but Spadafora was a super boxer. Unfortunately, he got into drugs and drink, and here we go. Look, I'll show you this. Spadafora. So I think he only had one loss, and he was an excellent boxer. No, not puncher, but he's an excellent boxer. Did anyone remember Paul Spadafora? So his only loss was to a split draw against Leonard Dorin, who wasn't a bad fighter. He lost a majority decision really late in his career, but basically he was a super fighter. Beautiful skills, great footwork, speed. Just couldn't really punch, man. His hand stuff. No. Marquez knocked out Pacquiao. That was it. Marquez. I mean, that was a brutal knockout. Marquez. Did Gage dump Heine? I don't know. Heine seems to have disappeared a bit. I think he's had his time in the sun. He doesn't do anything. He's an analytical expert for Gage. What does he analyze? Or what does he analyze? More like he analyzes Gage's batting. Yeah, Barrera took away Hamed's confidence. Spadafora Velschmerz was he was classy fighter. Again, unfortunately, he had drink and drug problems, so this caused him. You've got drink and drug problems, and you're trying to be a boxer at the same time. I tried that as an amateur, but as a pro, I mean, it's not great. Yeah, he gave Floyd the works in sparring. Allegedly, the story is Floyd wasn't fit, whereas Spadafora was, which may well be the case. And apparently, after that, Floyd Mayweather said he would never get out of shape ever again because Spadafora humiliated him. And you imagine that. I bet his dad was, you let that white boy humiliate you? You white boy this, white boy that, white boy this, white boy that. But yeah, he did. You can see it on YouTube. Right. So I said until the end of this. So 5 minutes left. 5 minutes less. I've really enjoyed it. I love these lives. I can only do them when I'm in the mood because me mental health. Me mental health, like Rukian, right? So we'll have a couple more questions, then we'll drop. Okay. Any more questions, man? What do you want to ask? Actually, I want to see if what's happening on poll. Sorry, on box. Let's see if they're talking. Because Triple B asks box. Triple B asks box who you think will win Italma or White. So that's the latest post. So they're watching. Someone says Italma, no rounds dropped. One of them is British, so I have to say the other one. Yeah. There's another post saying, why does everyone think Gay J is so weak? And it becomes because look, this is Fo-Chan. And it says Andre Ward would consider fighting Gay J at Wembley. I mean, I think that's just stupid. In the immortal words of Triple B, base boxing basement, Bongza the nonce. So they are talking about it. Triple B just name drop Bongza Keck. Oh, I like it when you get recognised on Fo-Chan because they'll diss you as well. I've been dissed on there a lot as well, but that's okay. That's part of the game, man. I have no problem with that. Yeah. But someone said that the YB and the nonce time booth had run me off the channel. We obviously don't know nothing, man. That's stupid. Danny McAleenan was a top fighter. I met Danny McAleenan. Who did he knock out? Who was it? Jack Bodell or someone? Well, you can punch. What's box? Fo-Chan box. That's what it is. I don't even know about box. Lol. Well, now you do, bro. It's on Fo-Chan, and it's go to the sports section and search for box. I used to not talk about them directly because it's a channel that you need to discover rather than a channel you need to be told about, right? But yeah. Michael Maloney, yeah, Fo-Chan. Fruit Nose don't know you. I mean, it's quite funny. I got accused, by the way, on Fo-Chan on box of they go, oh, he must watch. I already said I lurk all the time. I don't post, but I lurk. I lurk a lot. And they said, he's used Corey Marksman on his video, and which I did. And they're like, oh yeah, so he's obviously watching Fo-Chan, which I do. But I didn't get Corey Marksman from Fo-Chan originally. They reminded me about him. I got Corey Marksman because I remember I was going to do a video about Tyson Fury's obsession with Corey's. So I went to BoxRec and I entered the name Corey in it to see who came up. And one of the ones that came up was Corey Marksman. I was like, that's the perfect guy to talk about. So yeah. Who's your most hated fighter? Gayweather. There's Andre Gayweather without a doubt, and Devin Gainey, especially his dad. Both of them are boring. They would get destroyed in bare knuckle because they just don't have the star for bare knuckle. So they're my most hated ones. Does Andre Ward make top 10 hated? No, I don't dislike Andre Ward. Andre Ward's father is an oil driller, an Irish oil driller. Andre Ward is a good fighter, but he was boring. You know what? You know what they said about Andre Ward? He could send a glass eye to sleep. Why do I want to watch a fighter who's so boring? He would send a glass eye to sleep. And by the way, Bongza, this is for Bongza. You're a nonce. You're a nonce. You're a nonce. Basket weaver for him. Correct, monkey. Yeah. If you know, you know. I've heard of it, but I've never been on there. I mean, it's a weird place. They say you never leave. But when I first started looking at it, it was, I have to say, I don't want to be boring and sound like an old boy, but old superior. They used to do some mad stuff, man. Retro nose, Irish oil driller. There's a lot of Irish oil drillers, Mr. Maloney. I'm shocked. I know, like, look, think about it. Andre Ward, Irish oil driller. Mike Tyson's grandfather, Irish oil driller. Muhammad Ali's grandfather, Irish oil driller. Javante Davis's grandfather, Irish oil driller. Gay J's grandmother, she's what do they call it? A coal burner, an Irish coal burner. But there's a lot of Irish oil drillers, man. I don't know why, but maybe it's because it's something different, man. Oh, Dylan White, yeah, another one. Dylan White claims to have an Irish grandfather, but he is so dark. I can't, usually if you have some white blood in you and you're mixed or black, you're lighter. But Dylan White is really dark, But yeah, he's got Irish grandfather as well. So that's another oil driller. There's a lot of oil drilling. Maybe they should mate Sugar Shane Fury with Clarence Shields, and then they've got a super fighter. Oh, my mate. Oh, sorry, Footnotes quick. My mate Paddy's an oil driller. That's a hilarious correlation. Is it? I've seen it so much. It kind of weirds me out. Because Irish people, I love Irish people. I've said that again and again. And I was taught as a youth that Irish people, oh, they're really bad. They're trying to bomb you. And even when I was young, I was like, how can all these Irish people be out of order? I knew, and then I looked into the history, even as a youth, and I was like, well, hang on, mate. The British government didn't exactly cover themselves in glory the way they treated Irish people, did they? And so I was like, it's BS. And all the Irish people I've met, and that includes the Cockney Irish. So there's a lot. I mean, I've got Irish great grandmother, right? There's a lot of Irish blood in all the UK, right? So many people I know have got Irish blood, but the proper Irish Cockneys and the proper Irish people have always been decent guys. I met so many as well when I started boxing. There's so many Irish guys that box, in the UK. Yeah, I love the Irish people, man. Big up to Ireland. Oh, thank you so much, Peter Richards, for the £5. Very generous, very kind, very sweet. You've been very good to the channel. That goes into my lawyers pot to regulate the Romans. Did you ever go to Manor Place Bars or Seymour Hill? I see some great Solanaire fights. They're 77, 78. Oh no, I was waiting. No. I went alive then, bro. 77, 78. I went alive. But who did he see fight, bro? Okay. True Velt says, sorry, they're currently ruining Ireland with dingy engineers and box. Yeah, and Ireland didn't have they can't play the old, Ireland had colonies, so they deserve it. Ireland didn't have no colonies. Yeah. They've emigrated to countries. They never invaded no countries. They got invaded. There are lots of protests. Yeah, Irish people have at least got some guts and balls. Too late for the UK. Yeah, well, they get given 30 months. I've read about an autistic guy who got 12 months because he just threw an empty can of Monster energy drink. And he's an autistic guy. And he still gave him 12 months. Yeah, they've got grapists from abroad and nonces from abroad, and they get suspended sentences. Yeah, I agree with Schmertz. It's a shame she's such a beautiful country ruined. Yeah, the UK is done for. It's terrible. Yeah, it's such a shame, especially Ireland, man. Anyway, I want to go over to Ireland. I've got pals there, and I've been invited. So, I look forward to go to Ireland. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's about money, really, isn't it? And like I said, most of my money is going into my fund for lawyers. So, Dave Smith. Who's Dave Smith, bro? What you mean, like? Tell me more. Hotels, those months around it full of young African men. Yeah. Again, if you're red pilled, then you know why it's happened. It makes no sense if you're not red pilled. But they've managed to brainwashing program so many people so successfully. Well, normies and NPCs. Excuse me. Right, I'm gonna go in a minute because I want to eat. I got another steak. I made a steak the other night after the live, right? And this is what I did. I cut the fat off, put it in the air fryer with some spices. It's beautiful. I cooked the I was a bit lazy. I didn't put it in the pan. I cooked it in the oven, but I cooked it a bit too long. So instead of being medium rare, which is what I like, it was like medium to well, but it's still nice, man. And the fat was beautiful. Flyweight champion fought for the British Championship. What, Dave Smith, did he? I've not heard of him, bro. The EU army. What do you mean, man? What, NATO? Do they have a separate EU army? Surely NATO. Zobots. Yeah, Zobots. You know what I'm saying? Right, I'm going to finish up, right? It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's 11:15 almost. I've enjoyed the show as usual. I thought I was only doing an hour, but obviously because my funds are so interesting and so knowledgeable, I had to do more. Oh, you mean, sorry, the boatmen or the EU army? Okay, I get it. Yeah. Otto Wallin should be made to live in an enrichment area. He lives in America now and he'll stay there. So he'll sit there and go, hey, it's beautiful in America, it's so diverse. And whilst his country's been ruined. And even you ask the average Swede and they'll be, I think it's great. Meanwhile, they don't have anything. They don't. Go and ask someone who lives in Malmo and ask them how great it is. All right. All right, I'm going to finish up. So thank you very much. As always, you've got to say thank you to Footnotes for the $1.99. I say thank you to my boy Cyborg for the $14.99 Oz. And thanks to my boy Peter Richards for the $5. Very much appreciated. All love for the hip hop beats. Oh no, I've got the wrong song. I'm mixing two songs together because I listened to some blue. Someone was like, listen to this blue song. I only like the one song, which is one of them, like Lee Rand, right? So he got busted for racialisticalism and he got drunk on a plane. And then he had to go through a humiliation ritual. And that humiliation ritual was saying he'd been up to batty business with Duncan from Blue. And I very much doubt it's real. It's just, you got to do this, man. You stepped out of line. Ray Cathouse, Southern European champion. Yep, fought a British eliminated Seymour Hall. Ray Cathouse, yeah, I remember him. I don't know enough about him. Quality Life, thank you very much, my brother. So we're going to finish up. I say thank you to all the fans. I really appreciate it. It's been great fun. I can do this every night. but yeah, I've got some loads of videos to release. At least we've got a fight this weekend. Yes, it's ridiculous, $15.99 pay-per-view. And I can't think of it. Is anyone going to pay for that? Because I ain't. But I will do a live for that show. That's this weekend. Ergovich is Adegay. And of course, Moses Itamov is Dillian White, which both of which are very interesting fights. The heavyweights are the Kangs. All right, guys. Peace. Much love to everyone. Thank you for all the love. Sleep well. And I hope you have a really good week. Peace in the Middle East.
And again, the legs of Norton wobble. Norton is hurt in his own corner. Cooney trying to measure him. Misses two uppercuts, but scores with combinations of left stance going straight up. Norton is about to drop. Norton is on his knees and finally slumps in the corner. He is not going to get up from this. The fight is over in 54 seconds. And if there was ever any doubt as to the punching power of Gerry Cooney, Ray Leonard, I think that doubt was put to bed right here.
Right.